podcast is powered by Control. Control is a meal replacement and functional foods business whose mission is to improve the lifestyles of gamers and content creators by making them healthier. Their meal replacement shakes and meal on the go bars are the best tasting products in their category while also giving you all the protein, vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients you need to keep you going. Check out drinkcontrol.com and try out the sample kits to see what all the hype is about.
Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 158 of the XboxEra podcast. I'm your host, Sik Mechanico, and I'm joined as... I'm not joined as usual by... I'm joined by Aarsal, aka Soul Blazers. How you doing, my man?
Yo, doing pretty good. And is this the first time he's missed an episode?
No, second time.
Okay.
The man from Melbourne, the god that is Greek-ish, is not here this week, right? Which means two things. One, it might actually be a short episode. Two, I will try my best to make 1 point in 7 different ways like Nick does. All right? And then the podcast can be 5 hours long. We'll do our best. We'll try and fill in. But Nick's at a wedding. Well, he's not now. He was at a wedding last night. So he's resting. He's recuperating. But we've got Soul Blazers here, as well as always, Jesse, aka Donkey Base, sitting in the pulpit, making everything look fancy. Hey, bro.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. It's been
I'm befuddled. I can't talk about it, but I'm befuddled.
It's been a week.
Oh, God. What a week, man. What a week.
But we've got the chat here. The chat's in the chat. Did Nick finish GoldenEye yet? Maybe he's doing that today while he's not on the show. Who knows? Probably not.
Doubt it.
But it has been a week, man. Like, everyone's been super busy. The news has been crazy. The drama has been dramatic. We're going to talk through it all. We're going to get through all of it today. But while you're here, welcome, chat. It's good to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you're listening to us on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Amazon, on Google Podcasts, whatever you fancy, give us a little review. Maybe it's a 5-star review, preferably. But just something nice. Leave a comment. We don't mind. Just, we're everywhere now. We need to grow. Yeah. But what should we talk about? Let's talk about video games that we've been playing this week. Right? That's what we do on the show. And there's loads. There's loads we've been playing this week. And I understand, much like me, so you've been playing Benedict Fox, the last case on.
It's funny as we got the review code. I think like 6 hours later the game went live. So I'm like,
yes, I did.
It was about 12 to 13 hours or so.
Yeah. I have a lot I'm going to say about this game. I'm doing the review, but I as someone who's not doing the review, I'm curious how you're finding it.
So I really wanted to play this game. The trailer was amazing. It really kind of hit all the buttons, and I'm playing it, and like, this game has so many cool ideas, and like a couple of systems I already wish some other games have already implemented, where I didn't even think about. Like, one thing, for example, you want to dive into it right now, or you want to just...
Yeah, we could dive into it, man. It's so good.
Right, let's dive into Benedict Fox.
Show.
All right,
it's free flowing.
So one thing this game does, it's kind of Souls-like, where you kill enemies and you get stuff from them, and if you die, the enemies respawn, right? Similar to that in many games. What this game does is when you kill an enemy, they give you a resource, right? And you can bank that resource, which means you bank it in no more, and that enemy doesn't drop it ever again. Basically, the resources are finite, and the enemy that got the resources removed is weaker, easier to kill. So right away, that kind of makes like the retreading or you die and you have to go back a little less painful, because it's like, hey, these guys are weaker. I've already got what I need from them. I don't got to kill them again and again and again. And it also kind of, I think, lets the developers control with a lot more like control the abilities you get, the way you order in which you pick them up, that kind of stuff. It's a really cool idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool ideas. I have seen the community's been experiencing some bugs, right? I have too. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to comment on all of it. I'm aiming to get my review. I'm probably I think I've got about 3 hours left, maybe, to finish. Yeah, and it's longer than you think.
I'm curious how far away I am. Did you already get the Book of Languages?
Yes.
Are you like decently farther than that or
Yes.
around there? What? There's still that much more? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's a fair bit more.
Damn, this is a big game.
But look, and this is a developer. This is their first console outing, I think, from memory. Like, huge amount of ambition, on display.
This is not a small game.
And there's so many things where they're like, "That's a really cool idea," and there's a lot of things too where it needs a little more time in the oven. And I know there are some save bugs right now which are hurting some people a little bit. So. I'll have my full thoughts once I've wrapped it all up. I've got too much footage, to be honest, in delicious 4K. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I love a good Metroidvania. And
it's such a mixed game, you know. It's like there are issues. It's really like unpolished in a lot of ways. Combat can go from being like insanely sluggish to me like shooting in between, attacking and shooting, and like kind of feeling like I'm like Neo in the Matrix, attacking so quickly. Like and then the game can just. I haven't had any hard crashes, and I haven't had any save bug issues, thankfully. But I'm also not doing quick resume, and I've been quitting out of it for the most part when I'm done. It is definitely really buggy though. Like I have had issues where like I just freeze for like 5 seconds, or I've had to restart the game because my up D-pad's not working for some reason.
Yeah, I had one where I think I did like a move, and then I was just on the floor, and I was like, "Huh,
everybody walked the dinosaur."
Okay, and I fast traveled back, and I was still on the floor, just running on the spot. I was like. Time to go back to the menu and reload, and it was fine.
The voice acting is kind of awful. Like it's really bad, I thought, most of it. But again, that's okay, right? It's like knowing what kind of game it is, knowing like it's one of their first games and their first game of this type, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
Let's maybe a lot more forgiving. And a lot of things is like, for example, I'm used to jumping over every enemy. I'm used to having double jump everywhere. So when you know you can't do that, eventually you hit this point, then you start doing other things. You attack instead of jumping. You slide instead. That being said, that one random runaway section, what the hell was that?
Oh, that's not the only one. Oh,
no,
spoiler alert. Yeah, there's like I said, there is so much imagination and clear passion and heart behind it that I find it hard not to admire it. A little bit. It's really gutsy.
Like I maybe don't play it right now, or anyone on the fence. It is still perfectly playable. I thought like I'm decently in. I haven't had any save bug issues, no real major bugs, even to be honest. A little bit of like juddering and shudder here and there. If that bothers you and you can't play it, then don't. For me, not a big deal. I played Ori at launch, and that had like insane stuttering.
The stuttering is that snowy section in particular.
Oh, that's like 10 FPS.
There's some roughness there, but you know what? Like, I love games of all shapes and sizes, and usually the smaller ones with trying new stuff are far more appealing to me than the big ones that run the same old, right? So,
and some of the puzzles are pretty cool, dude. Like I wasn't sure if I were progress. I got stuck pretty early on. And then I switched the difficulty options, right? You can kind of change them between. One's like solve puzzles for you. Now, like screw it, I'm so lost. Let's let it solve it for me. And it's like you don't have the material to do this door. You don't have the material to this door. Then it opened a door, and I'm like, what? I restarted. I quit before it saved. Went back to that same spot, and I ended up finding out how to open it myself because I looked at the numbers. I'm like, oh, it worked.
There's some great things that I do want to mention, right? And I will mention them for the chat as well. If you're on the fence about Ben Fox, or if maybe wait for like one more patch just to smooth out some of the rough perf edges. But the two big things I really want to mention is one, I love that there's actual puzzles where I'm actually like taking pictures of stuff like on my phone. Yes, some of it is collected in the notebook, and you can
very Tunic reminiscent in a way.
A little bit Fez, kind of like there's a language and stuff.
Never played Fez, so I have no idea. But yes,
but it eventually gives you the keys to figuring this stuff out, and then it's like you've got to sit there and puzzle through. There are some really cool little elements like that, so I absolutely love that it's not just you've unlocked this ability and you can just do this move now to get through the door. There are stuff like that in classic Metroidvania style, but some of it is actually puzzles that you actually have to think about, which is cool. But the other really cool element, and this is where for an indie game I was like, round of applause for these guys, is the huge amount of accessibility options. So if you hate puzzles, you can switch a mode on that just says, I don't care, auto solve the puzzle for me things, and I'll breeze through it. If you want to challenge yourself and get some quick maths on the go, you can leave that off. You can turn on one hit kill for all the enemies. So you can just, I don't care about combat, but I'll still have some flavor of it, but I can just swing through. Or you can make yourself immortal. or you can, and there's just all this wonderful
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like many smaller indie games just skip; they just don't include it. And I think
What's
that's
funny
a really, really good thing.
is the map one. I honestly recommend people to play with it at like the most accessible, because it
I don't want to
still
get
doesn't.
lost. Yeah.
It
The
doesn't
map
like
icons.
Yeah, all it does is just give you like when you find like a new door or a new area, there'll still be a question mark, but it'll just tell you what kind of thing it is. So instead of you having to write it down yourself, it just keeps track of it. Very simple. I'd recommend everyone to switch to that. Like that makes life a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It didn't screw me over though, because I was lost for like an hour today. I'm like, where the hell am I going? It turns out there was a section in the map that didn't have the question mark, which I didn't realize because I was only looking for question marks. Like, okay, I haven't tried here. I've tried this door. This little tiny pathway you could walk through.
Yeah. This is classic, isn't it? You just go around and find what you need.
Yeah. It's a good game. Wait a couple patches if you don't want to jump in right away, but if you really want to play it. It's still playable.
I'll tell you what game also came out this week. That came out to a lot of positive reviews, but also apparently suffered from performance issues. Was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which Jesse, I think you reviewed. So let's just turn your camera on and have you with us as part of the show now. All right, let's just.
Hello. Oh yeah, that's right. I got to do one more thing. Let me fix my camera. I forgot I had to jump in as another person.
Oh, he's half Jesse.
There, I'm there. It's easy. It's an easy fix. Hi, how you doing? Yes, I did in fact review Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I absolutely loved it. I've been called a shill for overlooking performance issues, but I found the game completely playable, even before it was patched. Which,
I mean, you were playing
on
a VR TV, right? As well.
Not while I was capturing, which was the first like 9-10 hours I played. So yeah, no, but I mean, it's not. It was bad performance. I laughed at it, and I was like, I wonder what their patch is going to do. And then their patch made it a lot better, where it actually feels in the VRR range instead of being below it. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. I give it a very high 9.4, and I wasn't even that far off base. I was one of only 5 people who reviewed it on Xbox. Oddly enough, runs great there. I think on the whole, if you're fine with 30, it's a smooth 30 now, a very good feeling 30 FPS, and it looks great. You get a lot more shadows and lighting and stuff in the fidelity mode. But if you do the performance one like I did, just because I like that fluidity when I can have it, I think it's a great game. It was it's just really I gotta fix myself on this one too. It's just really smart, with
So is it that much better than the first game?
Yes, I think just on the whole, it's better in the sense of like pretty much every freaking part of it, if I'm being honest, is
lots of really good platformy kind of sections now comparatively.
It's one of the best platforming games I've ever played, and it was
Really?
I mentioned it in the review. It's very reminiscent for me of Recore. A lot of because eventually there are these gates and then they reset you, and so you do something, you do 10 moves, get through a gate, and then do another 10 moves, and then get through a gate, and then do another 10 moves, and it's nonstop. I think it looks great. Story's very interesting. Voice acting is very good. Combat is a very well done blend of fast and methodical. You have to be smart with what you do and why you're doing it, but you also have to be fast in your reaction times and choosing stuff because the enemies are pretty quick. There are maybe a few issues with balance at times, but you can go down from story all the way to Jedi Master through like 5 total levels, and you can tons of accessibility.
It's the same thing where it shows you like what each one does, like parry timing and like
they all do the same thing. You'll take more damage. You'll take more damage progressively. You have less window to parry, and their aggression for coming after you from further away is higher and higher. So you can't skip as many combat encounters.
I love the fact that it gives you a fully powered up Cal Kestis from the start.
Cal
Kestis, yeah. It's quite,
and
it's
then
quite a bold move for a game like that. Normally it's like, you've lost your powers again because it's a video game.
And it's has a very good new game plus where you keep, because you get the powering up are your traversal mechanics. More not you never do more damage or anything. You have moves you can do that you get that are awesome, and more stim, more health regen when you use it, more stims found those all stick with you, but you lose every traversal mechanic you got because that's how the game gates progression.
Yes. Okay, that's cool. Honestly, I'm just looking at the gameplay. I recently picked up my old save file for the Fallen Order because I never beat it. And yeah, it looks so much better combat-wise. Like, it looks a lot more fluid, a lot smoother.
Yeah.
The platforming looks better because, like, I've already jumped to my death several times in Fallen Order because the guy didn't jump the way I was supposed to jump. So...
And this is very much an Unreal Engine 4 game that I think would have been served a lot better by being on Unreal Engine 5, and that's why I'm so disappointed at its delay.
Yeah.
It's got all the hallmarks of issues with Unreal Open World, where Unreal 4 is very bad at open worlds. The version on PC I didn't play, but it's really tough to optimize it on everything, and so certain rigs, including some of the most powerful you can put together, just run terribly. And then other ones that you'd think would be weaker run fine. But so much of that ends up coming down to the way Unreal Engine handles like CPU cores and stuff. And
yeah.
So I found performance plenty playable. I know some people don't want to give up the fidelity for that, and the quality 30 is very smooth now. It very rarely drops. It used to drop a lot.
That's good. I don't know, man. I've heard from everyone that saw Digital Foundry, never played the game, that it is an unplayable mess. And, it drops down to like 22 once or twice.
I don't know, man. Like, I get it, right? There are people out there that are like, oh, why are these games that have got so many issues getting so many high scores? And like, it depends on when you play. And you mentioned this, Jesse, and this is an issue that has really been bugging me of late, right? And it's a real difficult one to talk about without potentially calling out some of our colleagues and friends in this industry, right? In the games media industry. So Jedi Survivor, a multi-platform game, right? And this ties into like Microsoft and ABK and why they want to buy Activision Blizzard King and everything else. But Jedi Survivor, multi-platform game available on PC, PS5, and Xbox. 85 of the reviews are on PS5. 12 of the reviews are on PC. 5 of the reviews were on the Xbox Series X, right?
Crazy.
Why is that? When people talk about media in gaming journalism, I totally agree that many of the people that we do know and are friends with can be objective and separate out and not be, like gaming Twitter. But you can't deny that if the entirety of the gaming media, if they're going to choose to play somewhere, always choose PlayStation, that there isn't some element of human preference there. And that preference can leak out, I think. And it just blows my mind that there are so many. Xbox seems to be loved, but only if it's for negative news cycles. Like over and over and over. And I don't know if I'm out of order here.
No. I mean, dude, you don't need to be just anyone who's been paying attention.
Does that not blow anyone's mind? 85?
No, it's
only on that platform.
It's the default.
Like 85. That's disproportionate in the grand scheme of things. 85. Weird. I find that really, really strange. But that's not unusual. If you go back and you look at any multi-platform game.
And I don't think people realize you can just ask. Generally, you can ask for whatever you want. You don't have to just take one.
Yeah. It's not
some
like
might be available earlier. Like normally Steam might be available a little earlier because they're more lax on their certification. But yeah, you can always you can ask.
I don't think anyone listening, anyone ever can like confidently, with full confidence, say that when they have a preference or a bias or something, they have never, ever let that slip into something they're doing. Ever.
Well, this is the thing. We're an Xbox branded publication, right? Guess what? We cover Xbox, but we feel we can be honest about what we're playing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But we don't pretend to be honest, like, no, we're not going to review PS5 games and we're honestly 6 wouldn't load on my Xbox. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're just not going to do that. Like, we stick in our lane. And when I look about how games media is changing, you're seeing all of these websites shutting down, right? It's because the news cycle is broken. Yep. The news cycle is one-sided. Why go to anything but the biggest site to just see the score and have this argument about Metacritic, especially if you're on that platform. If you're an Xbox gamer, you've got a ton of fan sites, tons, including ours, right? Could you call ours a fan site? I think we're a little bit more legitimate.
Like a mix, I guess.
Right?
Started out as, but have tried to become press.
Yeah, and I think we've succeeded, right? I believe we've been featured this week alone in EA's press accolades poster, and Squanch Games did High on Life. You know, we were there. I loved High on Life's trailer for Squanch Games. But I just look at that number, and I look at the way multi-platform games are handled, and I look at how the media handles them. I look about how the media reports on Xbox, and how if there's a negative Xbox news cycle to talk about, they will do it. But the Sony ones just seem to die for me, right? And it stays alive in Twitter fanboy wars and all of this sort of thing. But what really starts to like make me go, huh? Is like Redfall. People are talking about Redfall in the chat, and someone called it out here, right? 30 FPS Redfall, it's going to get stomped, right? Yeah, probably.
Yep. It's felt like that for the last almost year.
Has Redfall ever had a positive news story? No,
it's Arcane.
Because it's an Arcane game, even though all Arcane games are critical darlings. But Microsoft forced them to do a multiplayer game now. Now it's going to be stomped upon. But we've been playing Redfall.
For review. That's it.
Doesn't say we can't say. We've been playing it for review. And
if they don't say that we can't say, then I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. Like they would call out if we couldn't say. But yeah, Jesse and I have been playing some Redfall. Do you know what? Embargoes be damned. I'm going to talk about it right now, chat. I'm going to talk about it right now. Look, here we go. I'm going to tell you everything. And it's going to go like...
So while he's talking about, he's saying, that launch trailer though, right? That was such a good trailer.
No, everything's on in this one. Turn off. Okay.
Anyway,
fine, you can have
so
your
I
mic back.
hope you really enjoyed that brief viewpoint on Redfall. I hope you guys really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. I mean, you're a crazy man for saying it.
But yeah, it's fun. It's fun times to tease the chat like that. Yeah, we'll talk about Redfall. Well, Jesse will mostly be talking about Redfall, but I'll have some things to say as well.
I mean, it's coming out in only like 2-3 days now.
Comes
Tuesday.
out Monday night, essentially. It's like,
early morning Tuesday
little
for you,
earlier.
Monday like night for me. Just nice.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. I'll play Monday night. I've got that thing downloaded.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
there
just,
will be
you're
no
right.
blinking in code for me.
It's so even now, even to this day, we still get the narratives. We still get people going like, especially this week, where it's like, oh, Xbox, it's what's happening. Oh, it's the Xbox One days all over again. What's going on? And it's like, dude, where have you been all year? We're in April now. We're approaching the 5th month of the year. We've had numerous games to play, exclusive, not exclusive, both.
Yep.
You know, like
In and out of Game Pass. And no New Zealand trick. It is a global launch.
Yeah.
Here's the real kicker. Xbox fans are the worst culprits.
They suck.
For negative Xbox cycles.
Yep.
The absolute worst. Like, don't get me wrong. 30 FPS, not my choice. For a game like that. And when there's negative news, XboxEra will cover it in an honest way. I.e., we're not there to be really upset and dramatic about it and then get you to click the headline and then get some ad revenue. Here is the latest news. This is the facts. And that's it. We specifically, when we do news, we don't put our thoughts into it because that's not the news. That becomes an editorial. That becomes an opinion piece, right? So the news is the news. And the problem with, from my perspective, when I read a lot of the news cycles that come out around Xbox, it's here's the news. And there's always a joke at Microsoft's expense or Xbox's expense in there. Always. It's pretty rough. I don't know, man. It's getting to a point where it's almost laughable. And then you see all these game sites dying, right? And it's because, look, they're trying even more desperately to justify existing in the first place in some cases.
Xbox fans are so anxious to like.
They want a win. They want a win. That's what it is.
Listing. It's about winning the I'm part of a group list war.
With this like weird mentality of wanting a win, they let other people define what a win is for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they won't take wins unless everyone says it's a win, which will never ever happen. I've had discussions before with ABM as well. OBM as well. Where
One of
he's
those
like,
letters of the alphabet.
all Xbox has to do is just keep releasing good games and narrative will change. I don't believe that for a second.
Nope.
I think every single game, because by the way, no game is ever perfect. Not a single. If Xbox released Miles, the entire conversation would have been on the buggy launch. That's it. It would have been like, should it have been delayed a year? Should it have been pushed back forward 6 months? Blah, blah, blah. I don't care what game Xbox releases. It's going to have some kind of flaw because that's games for you, especially at launch, especially these days.
Yeah.
Every single time, those flaws will be focused on, hyper-analyzed by both Xbox fans and non-Xbox fans alike. And guess what? The narrative will never end because they'll never hit a great game. You know what I mean? Like one of those like bangers or something, because every single game will have flaws that people will talk and focus about, even though it's a good game.
That was the tweet I made that went viral for me because I don't tweet very much, which is there's just this negative feedback loop between the coverage of games and the consumers of that coverage, where the coverage trends negative, the people return back more negative, and they just keep feeding each other back and forth nonstop, so that everything ends up being unbelievably negative in the end. And it's just,
maybe this is why
miserable.
You need the photo mode, just so people can just shut up and look at photos instead. You know, where it's like, oh, look how pretty this is. Oh, I want to play this now, instead of talking about.
You're muted, John, like always.
Yeah,
like always. Sorry. What I would say is I am extremely privileged, I think, from the community that we've built, right? Because I think the people that stick around and watch, you know, the review team's reviews, Jesse's reviews, the rest of the guys, Harmy, Genghis, all of these people that work hard, we are fans like you that got tired of the weird duplicity in the space, right? And it gets to this point where people are too polite to talk about it. So you get Xbox focused content creators, right? And guess what? You can be an Xbox fan and call them out when they do stupid shit. Right? We do it all the time. You can do that, but it's when you call them out over stuff that's just fucking normal, right? Like, this negative feedback loop kicks in. But we've built this community that now sticks with us. And I think if you're an Xbox fan and you want to watch coverage of games that you're playing on your platform, come to XboxEra for honest coverage of what we're actually playing as people that actually buy games and play them. Like, not people that sit on the other side of the world and get given these games on a platform they dislike, and they'll tell you about them. Like, and
we're not jaded yet. You know what I mean? We've only been in this for like 2-3 years.
I don't know, man. I'm coming up on 40. I'm feeling pretty jaded about it.
We're not jaded in gaming. We're not jaded in gaming yet. Sorry, I should say.
No, that's true. I still believe in the beauty of games.
People have done this for 2-3 decades, and they've seen every AAA game. They don't want to deal with AAA anymore, but they're forced to review it. Blah blah blah. Right? We're not those guys. Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
We like playing video games.
When you are. I mean, if I ever become that, I'd walk away.
Yeah, honestly, right?
I'd walk away. That'd be okay, it's now ruining something I love, and time to move on with life. But
I've had conversations with people who were like, the last Xbox One, Microsoft's Xbox has been awful since Xbox One. They haven't released anything good. And right up front, I'm like, listen, if you haven't liked any of their output, stop. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. This isn't changing. It's like what I tell Halo fans. If you haven't enjoyed a single 343 game, guess what? This is probably not the franchise for you anymore. It's been 10
like
years.
Like watching Halo YouTubers being like, that's it.
Yep.
I quit. Like, okay, man. No one's forcing you to play
Seriously, it's just
you've chosen to build a career around a video game.
There was
one singular game.
In our forum, I'm not going to say who or anything, a regular poster, I think, but talking about how like the recent ABK stuff, which I'm sure we'll get to, right, is just kind of made them really tired and like they kind of like they don't see what's happening in the industry and they feel awful. I replied and I'm like, listen, just stop. Just stop. Get off social media. Get off forums. Get off Reddit, Twitter, everything. Get off everything and just play video games for a week or two. Right, without any of the narrative, any of the talking, and just kind of remember why you got into this hobby, you know, which is just to have fun and a good time. It's like, it's
there
video
are two
games,
sides.
guys.
There are two sides to that hobby. There is the forum drama, clickbait side, and then there's I just really enjoyed this new game I played.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it is. I mean, I can see like there's a really good point from Amit Kumar in the chat. Xbox content creators don't want to come off as fanboys and fans, so they feel they have to go extreme on their criticism about the platform. I think there is some seeds of truth to that.
Jesse said it himself.
I think there are enormous trees of truth for that.
I was being diplomatic.
There are gigantic oaks of truth for that.
Jesse literally said himself, and it's so accurate. Would you ever see someone on a podcast, even if it's an Xbox podcast like IGN Unlocked or something like that, wear like Xbox or have Xbox mugs or an Xbox t-shirt or like clear Xbox paraphernalia? You know what I mean? Like, no, you wouldn't, especially on like a normal neutral podcast. That would never, ever happen because right away online, for some reason, your credibility is shot.
Yeah.
It's just, so stupid.
It's a really weird, weird time at the moment. And like you see it in the headlines. And look, let's talk about the news. Let's talk about the biggest piece of the news, right?
Yeah. This is it.
I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Talking about games.
Before we do that, there's always something we forget to do, and that's, of course,
have your breakfast. Hey, of course, Nick's not here. He's not drinking his control shake, which, you know, sponsors the Xbox.
It's actually very good. The one time Nick isn't full of shit. The one time. I mean, he is, but it's, you know, it was good tasting going in.
You know, really quick on Redfall.
Wait, we're still doing the sponsored section.
My bad. I thought that was over.
Yeah.
Sorry.
head to control.com, use our code XboxEra. Is it 10% off your order?
It's drinkcontrol.com/XboxEra and get 10% off your order. It'll automatically apply the 10% XboxEra thing, but unfortunately John is lagging to shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what kind of confused me. He's really slow.
Yeah. All right. You're back now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you're back now. It's happened twice. Happened in the pre-show too.
Really? Weird. Sorry about that.
Drink control, that's ctrl.com/XboxEra. It'll automatically apply that XboxEra code that gets you 10% off of any order.
And they do sell it in the States.
Yes, it's based in the States, and it's going to more territories throughout different people. Yeah.
Really quick about Redfall. Honestly, I kind of get annoyed when people are like, I'm not going to play it until it's 60. I'm not going to try it until it's 60. Dude, it's on Game Pass. Just give it a shot. I mean, if you really can't do the 30, then sure, delete it, move on, wait for the 60, right? But come on. Like, don't, it's just stuff like that kind of irks me. I'm not going to lie.
I can't comment. I know people that are 60 FPS or death. I do know those people. So I in some ways I understand where they're coming from.
And then those same people will play Breath of the Wild at 20. So it's like,
Yeah. I know.
Speaking of really quick, back to what we were playing. It took a while, but I am now a big fan of Breath of the Wild. It worked. It clicked. 10 hours in. It takes a while, but it's
a bad start.
Terrible
start. It's not a good start. But as you finally unlock it to make the weapon breaking and stamina mechanics less painful, it's a fun map game.
Really fun game. Looking forward to the sequel.
Nick's not here to tell everyone it's not a map game. It's a map game.
My god!
It's a map game that does the smart thing for people who hate map games and completely obfuscates the map checklist. You don't get to see any of the checklists that you are clearing off of this map, and people like that. They don't like seeing it. They don't get overwhelmed. There's not a ton of icons until you've done a bunch. And then there's a lot of icons. There's not a big list for things for you to do until you've done them all. And then you look back and you go, oh shit. Yeah, that was just a big ass list. Like, it's a map game. It's a good one with very fun physics interactions that really carry it.
Gary, the start is pretty bad. Some people love it because it's like not traditional Zelda. It's a survival game, basically. Screw that. I'm a Zelda fan for Zelda. If you can stick with it, I would say like get through the first Divine Beast. If you still don't think the game is fun by then, drop it.
If you own the game and you know how to dump a RAM cart on, you know how to dump the cart onto PC, you can just mod out the annoying shit, and it's fun from the start.
Yep. The one thing I did want to say is that trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. Holy crap, that was a good trailer. So these guys know how to make good trailers. I'll tell you.
It's Nintendo, right? And they're lucky in the fan base that they have, in similar ways to how PlayStation are very lucky in the fan base that they have, right?
Nintendo's doubly lucky in the sense where they have the evergreen market of children that keep, existing, being born and growing up, and their parents buy them the Nintendo, right? And then they also have like this hardcore committed fan base like Nick that spends thousands every time they release a new console.
And then begs for people to buy him a $70 game.
Yep, that he has access to.
Mm-hmm.
Nick's not allowed anyone, no one buy Nick anything ever.
The Patreon needs money, not Nick.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's what I've been
Execs.
playing. That's
and you've been playing one more thing.
Yes, one other thing I've been playing, and my sixth or fifth review, because I haven't reviewed many games, because honestly, reviewing a game is goddamn difficult. Playing a game is easy, editing a video is easy, reviewing a game, taking the time to think about what you're playing, to record relevant footage, to write that all down so it's cohesive, is not easy.
It's so
big props to you guys.
It's really easy.
Like, holy crap.
It's just the more you do it type of thing. You try the hard part is not letting it get formulaic. So I always have the thing I focus on, and I try to get everyone else to work on is don't make the review about you, make the review about the game. Make it about what is this game? How many objective things about it can I say? And then I mix in how it made me feel. Like the objective, what is the game is something anyone can take from it. And I know a lot of people focus on the score at the end. And it's like, don't worry about the score. That can be the very last thing, and always go lower than you're initially thinking, because even if you're thinking a 6, think about it. With our scale, a 5 is just, it's okay. It's not great. It's not good. It's fine. So if you think the game's fine, go that way. If you think the game's truly fantastic, just weigh it that way. But in the end, does your review explain what this game is well enough?
Yeah,
I believe it did.
And does it speak to the person that is potentially the audience for buying that game? And I personally find that there are reviewers out there that think like me in certain ways. I'm like, this guy gets games in the way that I would like to approach them. I will listen to how this person conveys their opinion. I think that's useful too.
Makes sense. I definitely need to review more. I'm trying. I still have one in the back burner that I'm playing. But either way, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak came out this week for Xbox, PlayStation consoles. This is not an expansion you can play unless you are an avid player of Rise, because it requires like 50, 60 hours of gameplay in Rise to even start.
You need, 7 stars for the co-op?
Yep, not just 7 star for the co-op. 7 star for co-op to unlock the rank increase, and then get to Hunter rank 20, which is like 3 or 4 urgent quests ahead of that. Like it's a fair bit of content to play in the game.
I feel bad for anyone who bought this and they're like 20 hours into the main game and they're like, oh, I got to play another 80 hours or something.
No. Right away, the moment I start my review, I'm like, hey, listen, you can't play this unless you played it a lot. So I'm not going to talk about any base mechanics. All right. I know anyone watching this already knows Monster Hunter.
That's quite cool that you don't have to explain any of that. Right?
Yeah, it was kind of convenient. Made my review shorter than.
What refreshing.
But it's Monster Hunter. It's more Monster Hunter. If you've played the previous expansions like Ice World, it's that if you played Monster Hunter Rise, they kind of removed all the rampages. People didn't like them.
Yeah, because everyone hated them because they sucked.
They are kind of fun with the full group. I'll be honest. But
that's the thing. They're mainly built for that because they're so wide in the end.
Monster Hunter Rise is the first Monster Hunter game I've actually been playing with friends, and it is clearly, I can understand now why it's so popular when it was like mobile or on portable. It is like designed for multiple people playing. Really good game, solid game, crazy amount of depth, adds even more skills for the weapons, more monsters, more gear, more loot, just more is what I ended my review with. So if you like Monster Hunter Rise, pick up Sunbreak. If you don't look at it.
Don't look at it unless you haven't already invested. You're probably never going to. So
it is a really good game though, and it's the biggest issue with Monster Hunter in my opinion is the in-game tutorials are terrible, awful. It's terrible.
You need to assume that it's people that have been playing forever and they barely put any.
Basically, you need to watch a 10-minute video on your weapon of choice, and suddenly your damage will go from like barely doing anything to killing the monster in 5 minutes. It's crazy. Yeah.
Wow. God damn. Anyway, I believe
that's what we've been playing.
We were gonna. Yeah, that's all we've been playing. I believe we were going to talk about
the elephant.
It happened. My country, ladies and gentlemen, the regulatory body.
Entirely, John.
This country's weird and awful a lot of the time. Quick resume podcast. We're not allowed to ask you for Redfall Open Critic predictions. I have something, and I'll tell you what. I'll do your deal, and everyone in the chat.
You said this before we ever touched it.
I already gave my prediction.
I said this before we ever touched it. Right? I'm not going to say it now. I'm going to tweet it out on embargo before I've seen anybody else's scores, and I will call out exactly what I think. Right? So I don't know what the rest of the industry is thinking, except I do. And I'm going to call it out, and I'm going to do a tweet, and you watch how right I am about this.
I gave my prediction on Discord like a few days ago, so I can totally say it. I think this game will review a score like an 81, not higher, somewhere around there.
Okay,
yeah, that is my. I mean, who cares at the end of the day? Like, seriously, anyone in the chat who is relying on that score to tell you if you should play the game or not, don't. The biggest advantage of Game Pass is you can bypass people like us. You know, I know it sounds counterproductive to us right now on the podcast.
So shut up.
The biggest advantage is ignore us.
That's why our reviews are more about what the game is and not worried about the score. Like, oh, is this worth my time? Not my. They've already got my money. Mm-hmm. Should I bother downloading it and trying it? Because I only get so much game time a week. Well, that's what our reviews are for.
Yeah. And honestly, if you don't want to download it, don't download it. I've been playing a lot of cloud for the past week. I was at a friend's place. I played like an hour of Jedi Fallen Order just on the cloud on his Xbox. I want to download 40 gigs. It works. It's playable. Try out games through that way. You know, give it a shot.
You know who agrees that it works and it's playable and it's the future? Well, that's the CMA. It's everything. It is going to be everything in gaming in 10 years. It's going to be 10, 20, $30 billion a year.
Jesus.
Easy.
Yeah, it's nuts. So, hey, it happened. The UK blocked and Celebratory tweeted out an awful emoji-filled thread about how they're protecting UK gamers because of cloud gaming concerns.
They were protecting NVIDIA and other cloud companies who then came out and said, we think this should happen.
Yeah, well, it's nuts, right? So there's lots of opinion on it, right? And Twitter's not been a pleasant place to be if you're an Xbox fan, right? And I when I think about everything we just spoke about, right, about how the media portrays Xbox in this space, how can and people talk about them, don't call Microsoft the underdog, right? Oh, they're a multi-trillion-dollar company. Yeah, no, they're still the underdog in this space. That underdog doesn't mean something other than really rich or whatever. It means they're the least expected to ever win, right? And they are still the underdog in this space. And they are trying to do something to give them a chance to not be, right? To get to a world where multi-platform games are being reviewed 50 copies on Xbox and 50 copies on PS5 or whatever, whatever consoles.
A crazy dream. That'll never happen.
It will never happen, right? But that's where they're trying to get to. And they're trying to compete on multiple levels against mobile. But the CMA blocks this because of cloud gaming. Now, it's interesting because this was always a concern, right? But it still feels to many people from outside looking at the report that was released, that they made their decision, realized they'd really messed up all the maths on the console SLC that they did drop.
Only when they pointed out, by the way.
Made them look really stupid. Yep. And said, okay, we better really ham up this cloud problem. And what's mind-blowing is the number of people that they are protecting in the UK. Do you know how many concurrent cloud blades, cloud users can go live on xCloud at any one time in the UK?
I do.
5,000. That's what the CMA, that's the market.
Yeah, but within 10 years, that might be 500 billion.
Wow.
So is that actually real? It's only 5,000
concurrent? There's 5,000 concurrent users on xCloud, yeah.
That's crazy. Isn't that like really low?
Yes, it's really low because it's tiny. It's an add-on. The way they've approached this is saying anyone who's subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate is an xCloud user.
So stupid.
They did not say that for anyone that has Amazon Prime, who also then has access to Luna.
No, it's bonkers. And I understand why Microsoft are going to appeal, right? But it's really,
and they have to appeal weird. Because it literally means you as a company can probably never. We're being so broad and so vague here that you probably can't get anyone of any decent size ever for as long as this is okay. Yeah. As a company, even because it's about the cloud, and Microsoft's got a bunch of cloud, and they own the operating system, and you own the operating system, so you can't invest and make this nascent market bigger because what if other people want to come in? They might not even exist yet, but what if?
Yeah, and that's crazy to me, right? So okay, so hang on, Microsoft spends all the money getting all the infrastructure in place, getting all the technology built, making all the games for it to work, and getting it all ready to go. And they put up that upfront risk because they believe there's a market there. And now they want to expand that market, and they can't because it might not allow people to expand that market.
And Google's failure shows that it's really difficult. So we can't
straight up without COD, specifically because COD wasn't on Stadia. That's why.
Tell me you don't know anything
those
about
are
it.
not the types of games you would want to play. And then, of course, a Sony executive came through and said, "Well, we've actually been able to make the cloud work better than native." And they agreed to that.
Cerny popped up.
That's like, insane.
They've been able to somehow they've negative latency, like is what Stadia called it. Where this feels pretty good. It doesn't feel better than when I was playing it at home, but it felt okay for cloud compared to like on live and Gaikai.
I mean, you can get used to it, but it's still cloud.
It's just the fact that they had a conclusion and they worked backwards to try and solve it. Got called 100%. Out on messing 100%. Up the first version of that, and then just made a very hole-filled argument where. I mean, we as enthusiasts in the coverage of video games are in group chats where people are like, yeah, but they say this and then they say this and these completely contradict and this isn't true and you can easily disprove this. Like, imagine what Microsoft's lawyers are going to come up with. Like, that's why there are people who are, there are people who are like, well, you never win against them. And it's like, this is unprecedented.
Yes.
So anyone who thinks they know what's going to happen or how it's going to go, we don't know because this wasn't a logical decision. This was we've got what we want, and this was the only way we could figure out to get it, and they don't really go together.
I mean, you can boil it down to this, right? The CMA have stopped an acquisition that affects the entire global market to protect 5,000 0.2%, 0.02% or something nuts of the UK population, like an infinitesimal number of people, because in 10 years, Microsoft might have the market corner. Like
it's so stupid.
It's mental to me. And you look at those 85 PS5 reviews, and you're thinking like, well, that's what they're up against. You've totally locked in that market leader now. It's it's weird. It's a weird decision to arrive to, and that's the thing. You look at it. And you look at the facts, right? And I'm not talking about Xbox fans versus PlayStation fans, right? Because Sony fans will just, they're really rich. And I've seen it on Twitter of like prominent other people in this industry that are known on, like saying, Microsoft are really rich. Why can't they just get there on their own? It's because the whole system, and it's not confirmation bias. Like, I don't give a shit.
It's not. I mean, we talked about this earlier today. They can release great game after great game after great game. It doesn't matter. The narrative is set. They'll keep going to it. You know what I mean? End of the day, it doesn't matter. You need to take drastic actions. You got to disrupt the entire marketplace, right? Which is what they're doing. They're still doing this.
That's what they want to do,
right?
I mean, you've got to ask yourself the question, right? Brad Smith, president of MS, got quite aggressive in their language, like, hey, this decision is based on a faulty understanding of the market. The government should look at the role of the CMA because the EU Commission's approach is much better. We're going to look at, I think he called it the darkest day in our 4 decades of business in Britain for Microsoft, and effectively threatened, hey, we're probably never going to invest here in the future because why should we?
Would we?
This is and people are saying, they're tracking their toys at the prem. Well, yeah, he's doing his job, right? Like like Jim Ryan was with all of the absolute bullshit he spewed out. But you look at the facts. You look at the facts of the market. If they're protecting the cloud market, that's their concern. They're talking about 5,000 gamers in the UK. That's the only total number amount possible at any one time. 5,000. It doesn't make sense. So there is a tribunal process. What's weird about the CMA here in the UK is you can't go to court and have a judge look at the facts. Would be helpful and help understand it and overrule it. You have to go to something called the CAT or the CAT, and all they do is review whether the decision made was irrational or wrong based on the evidence. and it only goes back to the CMA to be re-reviewed. Right, so it's
stupid.
a very strange methodology because the CMA go, no, we were right. Like
it's I
really
mean, people have
weird.
said, right, it's a very uphill battle. What's
That's
funny
why
is
they're
I've
pushing
seen
the irrationality
Yeah.
measurement is where the cat can then just say, okay, no, the deal can go through with these things instead of going back to the CMA.
that would
If
be
you can
that'd be
prove they
nice.
were just irrational, then they can make a decision. is
I've
how
seen people
heard it.
throw out like percentages where it's like tribunal only has a 10% chance of it happening. And like what Jesse said, the only thing anyone, literally anyone, except for maybe the lawyers directly involved, know about this deal is that we know nothing. It's unprecedented. Things are happening. And when they amended the provisional findings, no one expected that. Right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, whoa, this came. We all said this is not possible. So the deal's not dead per se, right? Obviously, it hit a pretty big blow. It's not as smooth sailing as many of us thought it was, like a week or day before that happened.
Well, it's all the drama's set to continue later on in May, right? And that's where it all comes in because there's two scenarios ahead of us, right? Okay, so they're going to appeal this decision to the CMA with the cat, and that's going to take months, all right? So this saga that we all prayed to God would be over by May, June.
God.
It's going to well truck into the end of this year, if not beyond, right? Okay, we're still going to be talking about this in 2024. Sorry, folks, right? That's probably the reality. The big question here now is if the EU Commission says yes, and then you've got the outlier countries, I think you've got New Zealand left.
Yep.
China, I think, still.
Sammer's still left. Yeah.
Right. But if the EU says yes, right, they already know they're going to ignore the FTC because the FTC can't say no. They can just say, we're going to sue to stop it, right? Which they kind of haven't done.
They know they'll lose pretty terribly.
And they know they'll lose based on the facts.
They're playing their usual card. Ugh.
And this is where it's going to get interesting. If the EU say yes, right, it places the UK and the cat in a slightly different position. If the EU say no,
it's over.
Then I think that the dream of this acquisition going through is dead. Is there a scenario? I've seen this bandied around on Twitter. Is there a scenario where the EU say yes and Microsoft say, okay, we will no longer provide cloud gaming in the UK?
Yeah, I was thinking about this too.
Suck it, motherfuckers. Would that work? And I'm not a solicitor. I don't fucking know. But if the idea is we're concerned about the cloud market, and Microsoft say, "Yeah, we're not going to offer cloud gaming in the UK." Can that go through? Because honestly, I very rarely use xCloud. Like it's every now and then. Usually, where I'm somewhere else in another country, because I don't have my Xbox with me. So I'm fine with this. I honestly, I don't know. Like I don't know if it means Microsoft as an entire company has to cease trading.
That would never happen. No
I
way.
don't know what the difference is, but if they said to the UK, we won't be doing cloud here in the UK, well then surely you don't have to worry about protecting UK gamers. So you will no longer have any objections. Is kind of like my common sense way of looking at it. No idea if that's factually accurate.
Does the process even allow for another remedy? Are we past the point where they can say, "Hey, we'll do this," considering they didn't even?
There's
offer?
been some conjecture that this is to try and force even more concessions out of Microsoft. But look, Microsoft, they're never going to divest COD because it's just not how games development works, right?
No.
They're
and they're not going to go past 10 years. I think that was like one thing. Oh, well, if you don't go forever, you don't say, "Well, we will do this forever for anyone that ever wants to come to the market." It's like, well, you're doing this against hypotheticals, and it doesn't make any actual logical sense what you're saying. Also, they need to provide cloud downloads, what's that? That's literally just means you're locally playing the game, and you need those versions, and you need to support all the non-Windows OSs with,
that's
use
bonkers as well. That
use
completely
hyper
ignores
layers. That doesn't work. They asked for a remedy that just is not technically feasible, which is where you can go with the irrational claim.
Like CMA doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to the claims, but they do know what they're talking about when they know these things are like undoable, like they're not possible, right? So like, hey, we want to block this deal. Here's 400 pages worth of excuses why. Have fun.
Yeah, it does ring very disingenuous and a bit weird from the.
I wonder if Microsoft's appeal will be public, because I know I mean, I think eventually we might see.
You'll see some more from Microsoft this coming week.
I'm looking forward to them like ripping this 400-page document apart. You know what I mean?
But this is the thing: is that just the end of the process? And like they go to appeal, sure, but they'll release a statement and they'll go do a tour. I understand that Microsoft were in Downing Street on the day of that announcement, right? So they either knew or didn't know what was going down.
Yeah, their stuff up so quick. I imagine they already know.
It's just
yeah. I think technically, I think we have like signs that they found out like a few hours before it went out. Lulu had this one tweet with the bear that was sweating. She deleted that like 3 or 4 hours before the decision came out. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was like somewhere around that time.
Yeah,
is when it happened. Is it dead? Is it not? It's, you know, when it first happened, I literally had my last final for my entire program that day, and I'm like, God, I did not need this, right? Everyone's dooming. It's over. It's done. Microsoft's pulling out of gaming, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's been a few days, right? And at the end of the day, if the deal gets blocked, it doesn't go through, whatever, right? Whatever.
There's a comment in the chat I want to call out here from Tai Casares. Isn't one of the main reasons the CMA blocked the deal was over Microsoft taking full compensation?
Oh, God.
This is hilarious to me. And this is one of the crazy irrationalities. Microsoft don't make any money from cloud streaming for these other companies, right? What they're getting paid for is for the rights for people that have, because you've got to remember, this isn't I'm streaming the game that I don't own through a subscription. This is for I've bought the game, I have it installed on my machine, and I can stream it via this third-party cloud service who will have it installed. It recognize my account. It's giving them the right to stream it. It's not being sold through a storefront to buy another provider. So yes, they keep all the money because it's not being sold by them. It's giving the cloud provider the right to stream a already bought game from the customer. So the customer buys the game from Microsoft or from Steam, or wherever they buy it, it's the first party game. And this cloud provider has the right to look at that user's files, know they own it, have the game installed on their hardware, and give that user the right to stream it. There's no purchase involved here. It is a subscription to a service, not a purchase of a game.
Can you believe Steam takes all 100% of the sales of its games, even though they're being streamed through GeForce Now? That's insane. It's just, it's a misunderstanding of the market, of the words being used, but it's still being paraded and parroted by the people that just don't like the deal. Why? Because they don't like big tech, they don't like Microsoft, they like Sony, blah, 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 all the multitude of reasons for not wanting the deal, right?
Well,
a lot of which are valid.
You don't like consolidation in gaming, which I can get, but also the fact is that there's just how many new studios are popping up every week.
All the time.
It's the same cycle where the entire cycle of a studio is people start it gets big. Well, actually, they start working at another place. They leave it to start their own. That place gets big enough. They sell. They're around for 1 to 3 more years. They leave. They start another one. Rinse and repeat. People from their studio leave, start other ones, sell. Like that's just that.
It's
that
just
is
the
the
capitalism.
That's how it's always been in gaming, but people just ignore that. It's not
people
worse
talk about consolidation, yet they are quite happy to have the same market leader for another 20 years.
And I get it's the scale, because Xbox is doing it at a scale no one's matched.
Of course.
Like Sony did it one time with Psygnosis, but even then you put money to money. Their market share was as big, even bigger in Europe. But their the dollar figures and everything were nothing like this. So it's scary. You see nearly $70 billion deal right after they just did, a $7 billion or whatever the ZeniMax was. Like they're spending tons and they want to get right into it. And I think a lot of people hope it'll fail because they think Xbox will just quit and sell off to someone, when the reality is, as Phil has said before this, and then just reminded people, but people are treating it like, oh, they know they're going to lose. It's like, no, this isn't our only plan. This just accelerates what our actual plan is so that it happens faster, which is to have so much good content on the platform that companies can't ignore us anymore, and that people won't ignore Game Pass. Because You just spend 15, $20 a month, and holy shit, you've got a ridiculous amount of games.
People complain about consolidation, right? And it is happening. It's also not happening by newer studios. But you know why it's happening? You know why these giant billion-dollar companies can't afford making these pushing quadruple A, the term is stupid, but you know what I mean, games?
Yep.
It's because of you guys. It's because of you guys wanting all the bells, not you guys, the viewers. You guys isn't gamers. Sorry, I meant in general. It's people wanting all the bells and whistles. It's people wanting the most detailed, fine textures and fidelity and everything.
And perfect performance, because I found Star Wars completely playable, but then someone will watch a digital... I like the Digital Foundry guys. Every time I've interacted with them, they've been very nice, but their focus on the minutia and the just breaking down game performance has had a very negative effect on how people look at games, where it's not like, well, I played it and it's fine. But this guy said it doesn't run great all the time, so obviously you're just a shill or an idiot. Or how come people gave Jedi Survivor good reviews? And it's like, well, because I played the game and I enjoyed it a lot. That's all. Yeah, the performance wasn't perfect.
And this is what I mean when the difference between people that still love video games writing about them and talking about them and making videos about them versus people that just probably don't anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like you said, John Linneman, Digital Foundry. Like, I get the impression he hates most modern video games. Right. I think the last time I saw him super genuinely like, wow, was Hi-Fi Rush. And that was a game that felt like it dropped straight out of the 2000s, like the late noughties, but just with every possible technical hurdle accomplished. Like, it was perfectly made. Like, performance was great. But this is the industry we're in, right? So Microsoft are fighting this idea. And Tysi Casares, I called your question out. I didn't mean to like make it feel like I was ranting at you, by the way. So apologies if that did come across that way. I was like sitting there thinking, I got kind of mad because I did read that. I was like, oh, no, that's not true. I mean, Brad Smith, interestingly, he actually said in an interview that the watchdog, so the CMA, went completely silent on them 2 weeks ago. And then the prohibition, nope, we're not going to let you do it, went through. And he actually called out, this isn't the way every other country works. They are communicating with us. It's a conversation. It's a back and forth.
Yeah, like they said, they're working with the EC on remedies right now.
Yep. And it's looking positive, whatever that means.
But yeah, it's very, very strange times. So I think you'll see a big response and a big hoo-ha from Microsoft and a full, absolute enjoyable read from their solicitors' teams as they break down that document from the CMA and absolutely tear it a freaking new one, right? And honestly, if I were me, for the layman, I would get rid of the lawyer speak and go super high level, highlight paragraphs, and not say, say, and just in red, this is incorrect. This is based on a faulty premise, and then list why. And like at the end, I would come up with all of the reasons. Like, let's say the CMA had like 30 reasons in their 400-page whatever document. I'd list them all out and then show which ones in green are actually true. And I guarantee you that would be a smarter way of doing it, Brad. If you're watching, like, you need to get them looking at it. Like,
do you know the CMA, in all their tech and game development wisdom, are pretty sure that the Switch could never, ever feasibly run Call of Duty?
That's interesting. It ran Doom,
Witcher 3. Like, are you kidding me?
And also, they never said Switch. They said Nintendo platforms.
Yeah, it's just
and also, you're not game developers, right? Like, how are you making such bold claims?
They were told that by Sony.
They never said we would release Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in all of its fidelity. They said Call of Duty as a franchise. There's nothing that can't bring a COD mobile to Switch, as an example.
God, Nintendo agreed. So, like, what is your problem here? The people whose platform it is, the people whose jobs it is to make sure it's working on this platform because they signed the contract, they're fine with it. So what the hell is happening? It's just so many examples. I haven't gone through the whole thing. I'm not going to.
It's painful reading.
You see blurbs here and there. And again, you're just like, how did you come to this conclusion, right? Unless you were coming the conclusion first, and then, all right, let's find whatever reasons we can get. Yeah. Right. Every single person who's even used cloud for a second counts as a cloud gamer, even though someone checked out xCloud on their phone 2-3 years ago or whatever it first came out. Suddenly they're part of the 25 million. Yet not God, it's just so stupid, man. GeoForce now has like 20 million subs. It's just so stupid.
It's very painful. Here's the other thing as well. I thought was a really good call out from them. It was like, hey, hang on a second, CMA. The merger's been approved in quite a few countries now at this point, and effectively, by prohibiting this for 5,000 gamers in the UK that play on cloud max, right? You've cut across all of their regulatory practices. You've cut across it all. That doesn't matter. The UK, the island that voted for Brexit, we know best for the whole world. I don't know.
That's where that
I'm intrigued to see what happens. But look, suffice to say, we're gonna be here for a while. We're gonna be here talking about ABK for a long time.
Probably, I think less often. It'll be more. It'll go back to its hit and run approach of popping up every once in a while.
Diablo is definitely not making it in time. So for anyone on that
dreams
fence,
of Diablo 4 on Game Pass.
If they got real spicy and the EU approved, and then they just said we're gonna merge while we're appealing the CMA.
Yeah. I mean, there's another apparently. Again, I don't know anything, but there was someone that apparently just did whatever the acquisition was, even though they were told not to, and they started paying fines. I mean, I don't know the whole process. I'm sure these guys will work it out. And then it's Microsoft. It's a giant company with the literal best lawyers money can buy. You know what I mean? Like, leave it to them. If they still can't do it, then it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, fundamentally for me, there has never been a vertical merger that has been non-approved. And this is, regardless of what you think. At its heart, it's a vertical merger. It's not horizontal. So that in and of itself is a peculiar first time.
I mean, there are a lot of politics involved with this. I mean, anyone saying there isn't is blind or lying, right? Or has an agenda themselves. There's some pretty clear politics involved. It's God.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
you want to finish off our giveaway? I just finally got a winner after getting through about 300 giveaway bots.
Hey, nice. This is it. This is the moment, right? So earlier on Twitter, earlier this week, we offered lucky followers a chance to win a copy, and a deluxe edition copy, if memory serves, for the Xbox Series consoles of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And the winner is...
It is Tweet Out. And I'm probably going to say this very wrong. It is Mazharu Alam 25.
Wow. There you go.
Congratulations.
Nice.
I will send you the message. I will respond to you with the code later tonight.
Boom. Just like that. Lucky
That's a big giveaway. That's a good game.
Yeah, it's the deluxe edition too.
Chicken dinner.
Someone asked in the chat earlier when it'll get to EA Play. Probably a year, usually.
Yeah, it's normally 12 months.
Yeah, I love that we can do these giveaways for the community as well. It's so cool. Yeah. And look, it would be wrong of me not to tell you this, dear chat, who are definitely smashing that like button. 67 likes. What the hell is this? Smash that like button, please, because as though we do these public giveaways on Twitter for some really big beefy games, if you're a Patreon supporter of XboxEra, which you can become by heading to patreon.com/XboxEra, or if you're a YouTube member here on the channel, we do giveaways in our Discord, which you can get access to a super secret section of it for our YouTube members and our Patreon supporters, where Jesse's like just freaking out, throwing games out like candy, like literal candy.
Yeah.
And you just click a button and you're in the draw and you might win
it's a lot. It's crazy. And some good games too.
Look, like, come on, make it happen, people. So,
like the latest giveaway.
Go on.
Sorry, the latest giveaway was Inscription, right? I joined that giveaway too. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's give this a shot.
We probably wouldn't let you win.
I would not have given it to you.
Sorry, Sol. That's not how this works, man.
But yeah, no, it's giveaways literally all the time. Like, also, the Discord in general is a great time. It's getting more and more active. We already have some really awesome users with daily conversations.
Yeah,
some not so awesome.
I'm really pleased to see that the forums haven't fallen to the wayside either. They're still really active. So
yeah, there are people who like both. There are people who are on both. Where if you want a very active conversation, you use Discord. If you want a big grand discussion, you use a forum.
Yeah. And there's room for both. But the XboxEra Discord, you can literally go discord.gg/XboxEra and you can come in right now. But if you're a Patreon subscriber, honestly, it's for as little as $6 $3 a month. I think $6 a month gets you access to the Patreon lounge. And if you go more than that, you get all sorts of cool stuff. So why the heck not? You know what to do, people. Help us grow, because we love you. Anyways, so that was the biggest news item of the week. If I look at the rest of the news, what else do we have? Street Fighter 6 demo on Xbox is out. Nick's not here to talk about it because I haven't played it.
Neither
Any of you guys?
Nope, not at all.
Great.
I mainly just messed. I mean, what don't I play? I mainly just messed around with the character creator, which is utterly ridiculous, and you can make the most hideous things of all time. And then it looks really good there, and then you go into the fighting, and then it runs a lot lower, like frame rate. And I don't understand why. They should fix that.
Fingers crossed they do. Maybe
they go super high fidelity, lower frame rate in fighting, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why?
That's weird.
No, go
wrong way around.
But you know what though? That the live stream, it got me interested in the game I thought I would never be interested in, really, because the world tour stuff looks really cool. It reminds me of like some I played Mortal Kombat, I think Dead Annihilation or Deception, and that had like a full-on story mode that was like 15 hours long or something. And I played that a lot as a kid and I loved it. So if this is something similar, I mean, not a launch, mind you, I don't got $110 on that, but eventually I could see it.
Yeah. What else happened? Redfall. Bethesda revealed and Xbox revealed like a bunch of like Design Lab Redfall controllers that you can customize.
They were supposed to have a marketing beat where one of those showed up here,
and you could show it off on stream.
Yeah, and it's coming in May 8th, so that timing didn't work well.
Ouch.
No,
I've got the Layla one coming in. So
perfect, just the one for you, huh? But yeah, they look cool. Like I like that they're giving people that, but man, like I need to get some of that fluid. Jesse, you're gonna have to link me some of that electronic non-conducting fluid on Amazon, because I tried with the compressed air. So like for folks that are watching, not enough. Elite 2, like both my right bumpers on my Halo Elite 2 and my Elite 2 Core, the white one, like both just stopped going, where you have to like firmly get your finger.
And you gotta be careful because you start pushing more and more, and that's what ends up snapping it. Because right now it's just dirty. Yeah. So the contact for it is dirty and air is not good enough. But if you use electronic component cleaner, that actually will dissolve and you can keep pressing it. Same for any of the sticky buttons. So if you got a sticky bumper that's not reading correctly, or sticky buttons that just aren't working at all, that you pop off the faceplate by just getting in the little bottom in the front, going, and then you can push all the tabs up like it's a friggin' laptop. And then you can just douse it with the component cleaner, press all the buttons like a maniac, and it's perfect.
Yeah. So these controllers like this isn't the first time they've done it through Design Lab, right? Like custom controllers.
No, this is the first time. So they've done custom controllers, like unique controllers printed out.
Didn't they have the Pride one through Design Lab?
I believe the Pride one was
Design Lab. You're right. Yes, they did do the Pride one.
Yeah. So, but I'm looking at it, and it seems like it's a kind of a cool idea, where instead of trying to wait and see if it's in stock or whatnot, blah blah blah, you just make your own order. Yeah.
They just have to make the main faceplates, and then everything else they've already got.
Yeah, because it's really nifty. Like,
these are not Design Lab controllers. Take a look at the link, just Google it, and they are really detailed. They are really in depth.
Yeah, it's a super detailed faceplate, and that's the only thing that they need to get a bajillion of instead of having a bajillion of a bunch of different parts. They've already got all of those different parts. So
it's interesting times. I love the tech, and I hope they do this for more games. To be honest with you, because like I'd love to see stuff for like it would have been cool for Halo and things like that, but. Not only have we got Redfall Design Lab controllers, Starfield's marketing is kicking up with LucasAid here in the UK, taking on a sponsorship deal with Starfield. So branding and everything else, you can unlock some stuff, presumably in the game.
Marketing for Xbox games? I don't believe you, John.
It's true. I've seen it. I've seen it on the side of a London bus.
No.
Yes, in England.
Out of America?
No, here in the UK. It was a real marketing thing.
I'm going to need some photo proof here.
I think there was a photo of someone had a bus on Twitter. Someone took a picture. But yeah, there you go. I think, though, ABK was the biggest piece of news this week. I'm trying to think if anything else happened. Oh, Armored Core 6 got a demo video trailer thing.
6. Hell yeah.
Definitely more Gundam than mech, as always. Fires of the Rubicon. I think Xbox Wire did a little breakdown of it.
Yeah, both them and the PlayStation blog had it, so they're neutral on their marketing.
That's nice.
This is such a cool trailer. God,
Yep.
I mean,
I'm really looking. We are on the list for review, by the way.
cool, nice. I'm looking forward to seeing your review. But
it's gonna depend. I really hope it's not close to Lies of P, because now they're both. The Lies of P doesn't have a date yet, so I'm hoping it's early August.
Hey, one of us can do Lives of P.
One of you might have to do this, because I'm saying Starfield's not that far behind.
Oh, what? Are you serious? Oh,
yeah,
man.
this is the 25th, and Starfield's like September 6th, so they're like a week and a half difference. Yeah,
my God.
Speaking of, this got a date.
Early we get this. Yeah,
I can't imagine the slog that you're going to have to go through to get a Starfield review.
I'll tell you this: it better not be the Thursday before a Monday launch like Redfall has been. And that's not typical. Bethesda's normally good; they're normally like a week to a week and a half. Starfield though needs to be like 3 goddamn weeks or more.
Really?
Yeah,
quick.
they need to give reviewers like
on
a good
more time,
half a month.
This game looks
2
freaking
weeks.
awesome, by the way.
Yeah. Really quick on Redfall, because I just remembered the physical cases have 60 FPS written on them.
They put a sticker on. They put a sticker on the case saying coming after launch.
Yeah.
They put a sticker saying 30 for now, 60 coming later. The base
60
case,
FPS patch coming later. Yeah, but the
but the base case has 60, which to me kind of makes it seem like 60 was always the plan. Something happened near the end, couldn't get it out in time.
That's game development.
Happened. Yeah.
It's game development, right? It's oh shit, there's a blocker here. We can't get this ready for May 2nd, this one thing. What do we do? Okay, we ship it without the 60 FPS because that we can do. Everything else is good.
Yep.
Let's hold the 60 FPS patch. We'll ship it a couple of weeks after launch. That's pretty normal game development. But no, let's freak out about it and make it a really big deal.
Great. Back to Armored Core. I've never played an Armored Core game. At least I don't think I have. I might have played something like this as a kid, just randomly on an emulator or something. That being said, have not missed at all in the past 15 years or so. I've been playing with them. No, come on. What's been a miss?
The grind for Blood Vials in Bloodborne was a miss.
That is a miss. I blame Sony for that.
The overall game is very good.
Look, I'm a big Mech Warrior fan, and I love every time I see him. I'm like, oh, Mech, and then I'm like, oh wait, it's a Gundam, and it's just it's. If I'm in a mech, I don't want to have flying around ninja skills and floatiness. I want to be all like.
Oh, I see. So you're kind of, but that's the difference.
I want the slow method. Yeah,
Western
I want the slow
methodical
methodical mech assault, Mech Warrior.
Because I'm thinking, you said mech and Gundam. I'm like, yeah, that's the same thing.
No, it's not.
John wants his giant English privateer vehicle of war to take over other countries.
That's right. I want giant tank.
Yeah.
He wants to go full imperialist.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that's Eastern and Western, I guess, different definitions of the thing. But you're old. Have you played any of the Armored Core games?
Yeah, I've played. I've tried a couple of them, and I just kind of, it just, I don't know, they weren't for me. Just like the Dark Souls games, they're just not for me. Not denying people that love them, but if I'm going to play a mech, like From did From do Chrome Hounds? They did, didn't they?
Yes,
I think so. Yeah,
and they also did that President game.
That was Chrome Hounds, wasn't it?
No, Iron Wolf Brigade or something like that.
I don't know about that one, but Chrome Hounds from Software, that's the kind of mech game I want. I loved that game.
I have never played an Armored Core. This is not gonna be Souls. For anyone that's expecting Elden Ring or Dark Souls, no, it's gonna play completely different.
Metal Wolf Chaos, there it is.
Metal Wolf Chaos, there we go. Which is, by the way, John, you should definitely look that game up because that game is insanity. You play as the President of the United States of America.
I've played it. Is it the beginning? And he puts on the armored suit.
Yeah. And the Vice President is the main villain.
Yeah. I've seen it. It's very silly.
That being said, Armored Core is coming out this year, which is insane to me because they released Elden Ring the year before, and then Sekiro only a year or two before that. Crunch. Obviously, it's a Japanese studio that is expected, but wow, their release cadence is insane.
And they said we want to do more.
yeah. Good for them.
Yeah. And this year again, 2023 is shaping up to be such a good year. It's already been a really good year.
There's been some really good games landing now for me. I've had a lot of fun over the last few months. So and there's more to come. This year is not slowing down. By the way, for any of our friends in Cologne, Germany, I confirmed yesterday I will be heading out to Gamescom.
Hell yeah. Nice.
So I'll be there in a professional capacity as well as exploring the city in the evenings, etc. But if there's any XboxEra fans, look out for me wandering around. Short little funny looking bloke.
You can find the squirrel.
XboxEra t-shirt.
Yeah, is Claude going
hang
to
out, Mr. Toilet?
Yeah. I will very likely meet up with Jez as well and Clobberall.
Very cool.
I really want to tease something. No, I'm not going to.
Okay. Is it drivable for you? I'm not. Wait, no, you're on an island.
No.
They've got a tunnel.
I'll be flying. I'll fly.
They do have a tunnel.
I know. Yeah, we do have a tunnel under the sea.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you not know this? Is this like a US Canadian thing?
For some reason in my head, I thought like UK was so far away from mainland Europe that like.
No, they're pretty close to France. So
yeah, we have the British channel, the English channel, and
so it is drivable then. So it's probably
like a big tunnel, and you go through the tunnel.
Oh yeah,
under the channel.
That's normal for me. We have a tunnel to Detroit. We cross all the time. The tunnel is not the surprising part. So it's like a 20-hour drive, probably, right?
I no idea, but we'll be flying out. So, and yeah, it should be a fun time.
Nintendo.
Maybe you'll meet Jeff Keighley. Go to One Night Live.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
we'll
see. I'll see. I've got to organise a few bits and pieces, but
I have his email.
Yeah, I know. I've got it. So I'll give Jeff a nudge.
Gamescom is in August, right?
Yeah, August bank holiday weekend here in the UK, which is very convenient. Perfect. So I'm off work anyway. Minimal holiday has to be booked.
Just a weekend, or is it like the whole week?
It's I'm not sure on the games press days. I think we might have like a dedicated day, but there's also some business meetings and industry meetings. There's investor meetings, which obviously for Xboxera would be useful.
That's really exciting, man. That's super cool.
Yeah, so it should be fun. It's a shame LA didn't really pan out this year, but it doesn't look like anyone's doing a physical show, and for the cost to do it, it's just nuts. But I am going to make sure that I have some form of rig to take with me, be it a portable one or not. So I will do the podcast live from Gamescom on that evening. That'll be an hour later, so it'll be like a midnight start. I'll be fine. Yes. Anyway, I think really, chat, I think that's about it for news. So I think that time has come.
There was one other thing, technically.
Go on, what's the other technical?
The Microsoft quarterly report came out.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Interesting numbers out of the quarterly report.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Right? Like, I think everything was down, and yet it was
not
the
everything.
best quarter ever, like, of this quarter's.
The main thing that was down was console hardware was down like 30% from last quarter on quarter, right? Which was, to be honest, completely expected. We've known for a while they have not had the hardware this year. And last year they were really good in hardware, as Nick kept saying again and again, right? Like that was a common point of his. But the other drops weren't as low as people expected. And I believe services and content was a 4% gain from quarter on quarter, if I remember correctly. I want to double check.
So yeah, pretty much their hardware went down, but their people's engagement with the platform went up and offset it a lot more than they thought they were going to. So they were above their expectations.
I see it here. Gaming revenue declined 4%, down 1% CC. I'm not sure what CC means. Xbox content and services revenue grew up 3%, driven by growth in Xbox Game Pass. So what makes me kind of curious is this quarter is January to March, right? It's the quarter 3. What came out on Game Pass from January to March to provide such a big boost in content and services?
Man,
Monster Hunter Rise,
specifically
Persona 3 and 4,
one
Atomic
thing.
Heart, Wolong.
Nope.
Minecraft
a big thing that no one ever talked about, but was one of the biggest announcements of E3 last year in their show, right? It was the Riot partnership.
Oh, yes, of course.
That came out in January. So maybe something no one's talking about ended up being a bigger thing because hundreds of millions of people play this game, right? And we all kind of assumed. It's decisions like this and moments like this where you kind of realize that like us, the vocal online fan base, we're not really tuned into everything, you know? And a lot of the things we're not tuned in on end up being the really big like successes for what they're doing.
Yeah,
this goes to show.
That's a good call out. Like, I don't think they were. Everything's down, right? And I saw that they've stopped. They're going to stop making Microsoft branded mice keyboards now. It's all going to be
Really?
Surface,
stuff.
yeah.
End of an era, man. I remember my Microsoft mouse with great fondness. Does anyone have the one with the ball in?
Yes,
take the ball out, clean all the gunk off the little wheels. Those were the days, right?
Did you ever have the flat one? That one was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I had the Surface mouse as well, first gen. But yeah, there you go. That is all the news of the week. Now, finally, we're there, which means it's time for Name a Game.
Oof.
Yeah, good luck. Like, in terms of patrons, we're playing for. I'm looking at the list of patrons, and
I'm going to hit the button.
You can hit the button this week.
Hit it.
Okay, we're back. So, Name a Game, if you're first joining us, is the hosts will pit off against each other as champions for our patrons. This week, I am going to play for Ibrahim Akhtar. And Soulblazers, you can play for Yassine Ali, aka Spiderling.
Okay.
Yeah, that's who we're playing for. Okay, so Nick, you can look in the list. So, Name a Game. Jesse's going to take some popular games, the genre, and he'll replace the names of those games with synonyms for those words. Perfect Dark is always a good example where I say immaculate shadow, right? Like, and then you figure out what the name of the game
I keep going with Behemoth Drop 2 because I cannot believe neither me nor Nick got that one.
That was Titanfall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
By the way, of course, we are, as always, brought to you by Manscaped. You go to manscaped.com / and then use coupon code XboxEra. You get 20% off your order and you get free shipping. Nick normally has some weird ass advertising stuff he does.
Story about his balls. I mean, I too have very smooth testicles, thanks to the Lawnmower 4.0, but we don't need to talk about that, chat.
We don't need to, but do we want to?
I don't think anyone wants to hear about my
I've
balls.
hidden my chat, but I will still look there to get the physical name, all right, on the stream. So my chat is hidden.
Right, I've got my Buzzing live code. I'm ready.
I've got us loaded up. Everything's looking good. I've got it all open. All right. This week's category is video games that have vampires in them.
Nice. So I was correct with the category.
That one seemed pretty logical to do, you know?
That's a good one. I like it.
That is a good one.
It's also really hard because half of them have the word friggin' vampire in them. So it won't be any of those. There's nothing I can't say like Dracula.
Interesting. So no, like vampire
living forever.
Okay,
no vampire survivors or anything like that. There's no vampire.
Also, how loose is this definition of vampire? Pretty loose, I imagine.
It's a game that's just a game that has a vampire in it.
Okay.
As certified by Wikipedia, which has never been wrong.
Hey, of course, absolutely.
It's probably gonna be really goddamn hard. All right, so the first one is one compound word.
Okay.
That means it's not normally a word. It's not a real word. It's a video game name word. So I'm hyphenating it. And it is unlit -lurkers.
No, I screwed up. Darksiders.
What the hell's Darksiders? Oh, Darksiders. No, not Darksiders. Incorrect.
I screwed up. I got half of it and I clicked it.
Unlit.
Wait, unlit lurkers.
I tried to think for a second what the heck's Darksiders, and then I remember what Darksiders was.
I was gonna say, I'm like, what's Darksiders? Wait, am I in some alternate universe? Unlit. Lurkers meaning not thieves.
Well, it doesn't matter now. You got it wrong.
Well, in case he screws up, I have a steal, right?
Nope. You get one buzz in. That's it. Gonna start the timer, John.
Unlit lurkers.
Timer's going.
I mean, dark is good.
Right? But I think that's going to screw you up, actually. So maybe don't focus on the dark.
3,
like
2,
hidden, maybe?
Should have focused on the dark. Dark
wait.
Stalkers.
Stalkers.
man.
Oh, how did you not get that, John? Don't you play fighting games? No, you don't play fighting
I
games.
don't play fighting games.
That's
It's a
sick.
pretty big, well-known fighting game. All right, this next one's real stupid, but I didn't know of a different way to say this second part of the name.
Okay.
And Cisco Roke had it real early with Darkstalkers, except he said Darstalkers, so he retyped Darkstalkers. But I appreciate it. This next one is 2 words. It is sinful, left on a map. Left on a map is one word.
Compound? Okay.
Yes. Sinful,
Sinful.
left on a map.
What the hell? You're getting too good at this. Sinful. So, God damn it. God damn it. Sinful,
Left
sinful. As in,
on a
like,
map.
mistakes.
Mhm.
Bad. Sinful.
It's
wrong,
very literal.
Wrong turn? No, that's a movie.
Sycamore finally dinged for
Evil
you.
West.
Correct.
Oh, come on.
I said it was literal.
Man, West. I was like north, east, south, west. And as soon as I got west, I was like, yeah, okay, Evil West.
I had no idea that game had vampires. Interesting. Good to know.
Yeah, it's all
Good
about
to
it.
know.
It's a game about vampires.
Was I right with the clue of left on the map? You were going for north, east, south, west.
Yes. What
Oh
else can I say
my
west?
God.
Like how? Like it's just a
Yeah.
name, or if it's literally just left if you're looking at a map.
Left on a map. It's great.
Okay, it's
All
only
right.
1-0.
1-0. And I'm sorry, I didn't give you an Aarsal name and everything up there, but it breaks
no worries.
every
You're
goddamn
playing
time.
for Nick.
And then
so
I-
it's
Cool.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can cheat like Nick does and look at chat. All right, next
Yeah,
one
I mean,
is.
feel free.
I'm
If,
kidding.
like Nick has the chat open, he just projects and
The next-
claims he doesn't.
The next one is once again 2 words. Second word is a compound word because video games always do that.
Okay.
So, or no, sorry, this is 1 word. This is 1 word, compound word.
Okay.
So I'm hyphenating 2 things together that make that
Make
one
video game word.
one video game
Right,
word.
Okay.
Okay.
It is brood, BROOD hyphen downpour.
God damn it. Fudge.
Whoa,
Okay,
language.
I think I know what it is, but I don't know. I've got 2 words, but I don't know if it's a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you.
I mean, okay.
You got a buzzer?
I'm just gonna go for it.
Sick.
Child.
Wrong.
Right.
Oh.
Nope, you're out.
God. So okay, so you can't guess anymore, right? So I'm gonna
No.
do my thinking out loud. So
You've got
brood
about
is,
15 seconds.
Brood is spider or something like that. Downpour can mean rain, fall, spider rain. Brood can also mean like sad.
A
What the
game
hell is
about
this, though?
vampires.
God, doesn't help. Darkness.
it does.
No, the darkness.
Yeah,
no,
now you got it, you dumbass, John. Come on.
He got it.
It's a game of it's a game about vampires.
I think I got it.
I'm
I'll
starting
give
the
you a
timer. You
clue,
got 10
so
seconds.
I'll give you
Go,
a
go, go,
clue.
go, go, quick.
7,
The
6,
literal meaning of the last
5,
word isn't. It's a play on
4,
words.
3,
Downfall.
1.
Oh, rainfall. No, down.
That was the
Four.
timer.
God.
It is blood rain.
Oh my God.
Rain spelled
evil.
RAYNE. I know, but still. it
I
works.
question
Oh,
brood.
blood.
I question
It
brood
is a
meaning.
it is a direct Merriam-Webster thesaurus.
Oh, of course, blood of my blood.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
your
Yes,
brood.
The rain
okay.
gets me more so because
Yes,
the Y.
blood as in
I would never
your
have got that.
yeah.
Yeah, I have not
Fair.
played many games of vampires. It seems.
Yeah. But no, that is a direct friggin' synonym, motherfucker. All right, next one. John up 1-0, and boy, I might not have made enough. Is
Yeah. What if none of us get to 5?
whoever has the
Some-
most, and if there's more, I will make one up on the fly for a tiebreaker.
Okay. Let's go.
All right, next one is 3 words, no hyphens, nothing. It is. Do I have the whole thing in there? No, the last word did not copy over. Let me fix that for people watching.
Mhm.
It is. The heck? Where'd bro come from? Bro's not in it.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
What I show on the screen. It is habitant atrociousness Hamlet.
God damn it.
Habitant.
Habitant atrociousness Hamlet. If you don't know what the word Hamlet means as an actual word, and I mean John should, he's English.
Oh, I do. Of course that. Wait. So I have the first. I have the last word.
Second
Atrociousness?
Mechanico.
Resident Evil Village.
Correct.
Ah,
on it.
See,
Hamlet,
that shit
Village.
works. Stupid ass words, but they work.
damn it. Okay.
Can't give me any shit.
Precociousness. Evil. Okay.
And I know I've got to come up with. All right. So the next one is for the win. So I'm going to my extremely hard section I made.
Okay.
Ooh. Extremely hard.
Oh god, this is not my day for this.
This is going to be.
Brushed up on vampire
This is
games.
going to be a tough one. People can call bullshit on it, but it technically in English works. It is establishment manner. MANNER. MANNER.
Okay.
Establishment manner.
Manner.
A game all about, or contains, vampires.
What? Contains what?
Vampire. The
Oh
undead.
my god.
Nosferatu.
Establishment manner.
How would that be Castlevania, Eric?
I mean, I could see that. Establishment, castle.
God,
No, Not even
I'm
close.
blanking
Establishment,
so hard.
manor. Not manor. Manor, as in manners.
Yeah,
I've got good
MANNER.
manners. So the way you behave.
House behavior.
It technically works. Some people might call bullshit on this one, but I gotta have some hard ones.
Establishment? God damn it.
Establishment, manor. Establishment.
There's one hint I can give that would make it super easy for one of you.
Wait, do you think I've played this game?
Have we? Yeah, have I played this?
John, I don't think you've played this game.
But I might have played it.
platform
What
did
the
it
hell kind
release
of game is this?
Aarsal, I know for a fact you've played this.
What?
What platform did it release on?
Everything.
Everything. Recent?
What? God, 3 or 4 years ago.
What game have I
Was
played that has
in
vampires in it? God
The
damn
last
it.
hint I'll give, it was in, and I believe has subsequently left Game Pass.
Oh, flip. Ah, crap. Ah, my God. Oh, I know this. No.
Man, I do not know.
Oh,
So,
wait. Okay, see, the word doesn't work.
yeah, they
But I
do.
know what game
They
you're
both
talking about.
work.
How the heck does that... Code Vein?
Correct.
How? How does either of that... Oh, vein? As in
Yeah.
like your vein?
The vein you're doing something in. That is literally what the word VEIN, not vein as in blood, but vein, the manner in
As
which
in
you are
being
doing
vain.
something. Yes.
Yeah.
Establishment
establishment.
is a
Oh,
code.
okay, I
An
got
establishment. It works. They
Establishment threw me off.
both
I was thinking house.
technically work.
That is a tough cookie, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I don't do them all like
one was
that.
for me, though.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's really funny you were on. I didn't do this when I before I knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, this next one's unbelievably stupid, and I really like it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do it. I actually skipping one that's way too easy,
Okay.
and I'm doing this one. Everything's set. It is the Geriatric Roster 5, Sunrise - Protect.
What the fudge? What? No, damn it.
Did you not
Sorry.
mean to hit that?
Wait, did you buzz too?
No.
No.
Damn it.
Did
Did you not
mean to
mean to
buzz?
buzz?
I mean, I know like the first 3 words, but what the hell is the 5 and the crap after that?
Sorry, can I have it again? The geriatric.
The Geriatric Roster 5, Sunrise - Protect.
It's gotta be a fighting game, right? What other game has 5 editions?
The geriatric roster 5.
Yep.
So
Sunrise
the
Protect is
old.
one word.
The
I can
old
give you one
something.
hint.
Sunshine.
It is an expansion.
Sunbreak. What the? Is this DMC? No.
The geriatric is the old.
The old and
roster.
roster. I was thinking guard, but no, that doesn't work. That's why I buzzed. I'm like, oh, the old guard, yeah. And then the rest of the words showed up.
Yeah, but then you've got what is it? Sunset, sunshine,
Sunrise
protect,
It ends with Sunrise - Protect.
sunrise.
Or like sun guard.
John, this
right?
would be a
Something like
game you
that.
did not play.
Or bright guard, something like that. Something guard.
It's made by a company whose
Uh,
games you never played.
Didn't I don't know the first part of this, but didn't
Oh my God, is this
one of the
flippin'-
Elder Scrolls have an expansion for Dawn Guard?
Why do you just give the answer out like that? Now no one can.
Is
the
that-
Elder Scrolls 5 Dawn Guard.
Correct.
Oh,
2
fuck.
points for Sick
the
Mechanicon.
Elder old?
I mean,
are
for
you?
2 points now. We're tied. Jesus Christ! All right, you just handed it to him.
I literally did.
Why
I
did
didn't
you click
even
the buzzer when
I
you
did
said
not
it?
even. I did not even put Elder and Old together in the same sentence. The Elder Scrolls 5.
Dawnguard.
Fuck.
Dawnguard's one word.
I have not played that at all. In fact,
Man,
I would
I
not have
need
gotten
to
that
learn
even
to
a
not
little
get
bit without you,
conversational with
John.
you. So, because you were like, oh, Sun Guard. And I was
Well,
like,
see, what I did
didn't
was I
Elder
baited you.
Scrolls do Dawn Guard? And then I'm like, oh no.
We are tied for the win.
Yes. Perfectly fair tie.
Everything's reset. We're good. For the win, it is the heritage of kin, vitality despoiler.
Damn it.
I skipped the easy one, sorry.
Okay, it's
We'll
fine.
get back to him.
Heritage of kin, meaning the family? Brother?
Knowing
Like-
another word for kin being something very old, you might not know. So go for the
Oh,
other
I
words.
know. What was the last two words?
Vitality.
despoiler.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, God, I know this. Life.
Oh, kill.
Life
Sick
what?
Mechanico.
I'm very lucky. Soul Blazers is playing with me today because is it Legacy of Kain Soul? Is it Reaver? Soul Reaver?
Yes, you win.
Thank you, Soul.
Ah.
So
So,
it's literally like Legacy. Okay, it's Legacy of Kain.
see, that was my first guess, but I'm like, there's no way Kin turns to Kane. So I ignored
It
it and I moved on
does.
to the next one.
It actually does.
Kane.
I
So
swear,
Kin is in
Legacy
brother,
of
Kane is
Kain.
in, like,
Kin
Cain
has,
and
this
Abel?
has been a previous.
Yeah.
Legacy of Kain game has been a previous game on
And
main
literally, the
game.
word Cain means kin. It's the only way I can ever use it. There's no
Does it
other
come
way
from,
you
like,
can use
Cain and
Cain.
Abel, you think? Because Kin means
It-
brother?
I think so, yeah. But
Was that the last one as well?
no, I've got two more, but you won.
Ooh. Okay.
All right.
It was a fight. I mean, he gave it to me, but I'll take it.
All right, two more. The next one is one word. Rapier. 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 So,
There's a game for this? Blade?
yep. There's Blade and Blade
Okay.
2.
Did not know
Nice.
that.
Nice.
That was too easy. That's why I didn't do that one yet.
Yeah, that was way too easy.
And the last
I was
one.
like sword. I was like, wait.
Right, that's my first thought.
The last one is Dusk Ambush. Dusk Ambush.
Dusk?
D-U-S-K.
Yeah. God damn it. Dusk as in the thing before. Sunset, dark. No, dusk is like sunset. Ambush, attack.
Dusk ambush.
We need like the Elves theme from Death Note playing during this. I feel like that would help my brain.
I would definitely
Or
get
quicker.
DMCA'd for that. I'm very lucky
I might do-
Nintendo hasn't done this one yet.
Might do it just for myself next time.
I have a quiz show song to use if Nintendo ever comes at us for this.
The Wii
Dusk-
music just works.
I know.
Dusk ambush. Okay. So let's talk this through, John. So dusk,
Night
as in like
attack. Dusk
night.
attack.
Oh, night. Dusk. That doesn't mean night. It kind of does.
Dusk.
Night.
Cisco Roke is
Sunset.
just killing it.
No, attack can mean like not attack. Dusk, night.
Is it dusk ambush? Was the clue right?
Yes. Night
Yeah.
attack. Nightfall. Night. It's not night, man. Is it night? Dusk means like right before sunset. It's like one of those parts of Twilight.
I don't know. Like I would take dusk as night.
Did Twilight have a game?
I hope not.
Is this new? Is this new? Old? Current gen? Really old?
And had a recent re-release.
There was a re-release on Xbox.
I don't remember.
Okay,
I don't think so.
alright.
Let me double check. Yeah, it was
Night.
What year was the re-release? I'm just asking for an
2017,
instant. Oh, that's recent.
25th
God.
anniversary edition.
Oh, what the
Wow,
hell?
okay,
This is
so
old.
old.
This is your game, John.
Yeah,
it.
man. Like I'm trying to think. Like, what did I play?
Bam,
It was
bam.
Dusk.
Is it an RTS?
Dun, 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 dun.
Dark Tales? Dusk Tales? No.
Dun,
no.
Don't you get caught up in the...
Nope. No, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm out. I can't guess this. If it's night
Don't
something,
you
I can.
get caught up in the night trap. Bam, 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 bam.
Trap.
Night trap.
Ambush.
The FMV game with Dana Plato
Yes.
that had
I never
vampires in it. If you could ever actually get through that hunk of shit and see the vampires.
Wow.
So I'm
go
okay with
figure.
leaving the buzz in, right?
Yes, for once,
Okay.
you're okay for doing it.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Well, GG's.
All right, let me see how badly chat roasted me throughout all that.
Goodbye, Wii Music.
Yeah, I'll just twitch chat back on. Think of Admiral Akbar. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Oh my
Fish
god.
eyes wiggling everywhere. It's a trap.
I was even singing the song from it and everything. I was whistling it.
Yeah, man. I don't think I played Night Trap.
No.
I remember one.
I had a Sega CD, so I did.
Was it the one where you turn into a werewolf? Is that Night Trap?
No, Night Trap is the one where you're watching a bunch of security cameras and trying to keep the people in the house alive by trapping the enemies around them. And Dana Plato's in it, and it's really bad.
What was the one with the cubes, and you could hop up the cubes? So it was like Cubert, but you could you were like in a raincoat, and you would turn into a wolf sometimes.
I have no idea. Sounds fake.
Yeah, I don't know. Can't remember.
Sounds old.
Anyways, GG's. Congratulations to the patron who won. I can't actually remember who we selected. I'll just go back and listen on the recording because we did this on the fly.
I am.
But
better webcam for you, Mort. I have to. I'm literally doing a. If anyone's wondering why I keep jumping between looking fuzzy and then looking good, it's because I have a display capture grabbing me from StreamYard. But if I ever open chat or anything, it moves me. So I go back because when I'm going through StreamYard and I'm streaming myself, it just is super fuzzy for some reason. I can never make it look better. So this is my solution.
Genius plan. It's the time in the show where we like to thank our patrons and YouTube members for all of their support because you guys are awesome.
We just need more of you.
We wish there were like 900 or so more. So if you really honestly, if you come and tune in every week, if you're interacting on the forums, like we try and give a lot. So there's always game giveaways and there's always merch available and all this kind of stuff. So if you really do like what we do and you want good Xbox coverage, if you want to read reviews from people that play on this platform instead of when they're forced to, come support XboxEra. You know, that's what we're here for. But hey, if you want to join the Patreon, you can do so, patreon.com/XboxEra, or you can join here as a YouTube member and you will get the opportunity to annoy us with community questions, which you can find in the Patreon lounge. And this week's questions are obviously going to be primarily focused on all of the dramas.
ABK.
It's going to be all that ABK dramas. It's going to be great. Really looking forward to it. No Nick this week, so anyone that says hello to Nick, I won't read out their question for politeness. That'll get us down to like one question. But hey, look, Nick's not here, and we're under 2 hours right now. So can we do these questions in 12 minutes? We won't find out because Jason's here with a super chat. Jason, $7.99 super chat because we need more of Jesse on the pod. What's the review schedule dropping this week? Hey, we'll let you know in a moment.
We can let the amount of games be known. Like, what do we got? We've got Redfall. That'll come at some point close up to launch. We got, Benedict Fox. Yeah. We've got a weird ass FMV fighting game that Harmonica's doing, the Dragon Princess or something.
Genghis is doing something too.
Yeah, Genghis has a couple things. He's working on Tesla Grad 2, and I just gave him Ravenlock. So which is coming to Game Pass.
I will be checking out Tin Can, which recently came out on ID.
Which is funny. I actually asked a month and a half ago if anybody wanted to review that because I had a code. You just never saw it, I guess.
I must have never seen it. My bad. Please don't be mad at me. But I'll try and check it out this week as well, and we'll get an extra review out. Might be text only.
Text only for anything later. Normally is fine.
Yeah. But there's quite a bit this week. Quite a big busy week in video game coverage for us. So yeah. Anyways, community questions. Hytham G. Sucks UK said no to the ABK deal, but what if MS got the yes approval since it's got 7 countries that approves the deal and maybe more countries saying yes to the ABK deal while it has less of a no approval? Your guys' take on that ABK deal situation? Hytham, please revert to our earlier discussion on the topic in this very show.
If any of the big 3 say no, it ends up just being a no if you can't get it. Mostly, that's as far as we know.
Yeah, and specifically, like the deal between Microsoft and Activision was contingent on I think 6 or 7 different regulators approving the deal. Maybe if they do want to pursue without CMA, however they go about doing it, they would have to renegotiate that deal, which would be a big process.
It comes down to the EU. EU is the next big moment. If it's a no from them, I think the deal's dead. But
it's over, for better or worse.
Hey, Hytham has more to say. He says, P.S. Since the UK made a mistake to say no, that's a very polite way of putting it. Despite they found no wrongdoing on MS to the deal, will MS pull out all of their products from UK due to their mistake?
Nope.
It was a hypothetical. They wouldn't pull out of the entirety of the UK, but they could easily say, yep, we won't release anything cloud related, and therefore we're protecting your cloud gamers, dear UK. I mean, it's a possibility, but there you go, Hytham.
Yep.
Next up, Abraham Esquivel says, hello, everyone. Since I get all my gaming news from podcasts such as this one, good man, I don't know much on why the CMA has blocked the deal. Well, we hope you enjoyed the earlier segment. We went into a little bit of detail. But it was certainly unexpected based on how they previously did a 180 with Sony. So I'm curious, how do you guys think Lina Khan will use this in her fight against MS? Will she find a real person to block the deal, or will she continue using BS arguments like always? Will Nick always accuse John of cheating in Name a Game?
Yes.
Always. Always. Even when I lose. Sorry for the long post. Keep up the good work. Really appreciate it. It is weird. Lina Khan, I mean, we saw her getting grilled. There were clips on YouTube, her being grilled. It was a bit brutal to watch, and she just fuzzed the question. They were like, "Hey, why are you?" She was directly called out. Why are you protecting the market leader? And we take input from everyone,
and our final decision will be only us, no one else.
Like in court, facts alone, no politics. The FTC loses. Now, arguably, the acquisition facts alone, the CMA shouldn't be able to prohibit it, but yet they have. So it's an interesting world we're living in. But there'll be more from Microsoft this coming week, from Brad Smith in particular and their team. There'll be the official response to the CMA's final decision. More drama, more popcorn. Get yourself your preferred flavor, be it butter or salt and sweet, or just salt. Maybe just salt for now. I think that's probably appropriate. Omen says, hello. Let's assume the ABK deal fails. Yeah, I can understand many people are on that train. You magically land a job as an Xbox executive. What would be your high-level plan?
This is a fun question.
Equal or greater console market share than Sony?
What is that market share?
What define market share?
Sony had their biggest, most shipped consoles ever, but their sales stayed flat and their subscriptions went down.
So they specifically ask console market share.
Yeah.
So we're talking sales of console. If it were me and the buck stopped with me, I'd channel my good friend and co-host Nick, and Microsoft should be dicks. Like if this is all put to bed by the end of the year, I'll be like, yo, Activision, here's a check, exclusive deal. Because in the CMA's world, this is allowed. Exclusive deal. 3
Well, they
years.
even said
they
said you should do that with relation to mobile. Like, why don't you just sign a bunch of deals? It's like, oh, okay, but also like the console market. Like, is that just the units you ship and sell? Because if you ship and sell a ton of units, but you're not making money with that. Like console sales are the worst moneymaker. Your true moneymaker, the thing you subsidize your consoles for and eat
games.
So it's the actual software, which is not even, you don't even have to print discs most of the time anymore. It's just this thing in the cloud, essentially, that you send out bits and bytes, and that cost is a hell of a lot less than making an entire console, and you get 70%, or you get, what is it, like 30% of the profit when someone else makes it, and you get 100% when it's your own shit. It's that is the market. Is what is your profit? Not just
why
how
do you
many
think Microsoft makes so many controllers? Why do you think Microsoft makes so many controllers? Like, it was hilariously painful. ABK deal blocked. Everything's over the news. No one in the marketing team is going to acknowledge this piece of information because it's above their pay grade. Here's the controller, everyone. Don't look. It was a bit like, Bad timing.
It's Omen. At the end of the day, I think the question is kind of inherently flawed, as Jesse said, because I don't think they'll ever sell more consoles than PlayStation. It's kind of PlayStation's like international dominance is just too big in that aspect.
And yet,
You know
even
honestly,
then, they're still behind Nintendo.
Yeah, honestly.
So it's but Nintendo doesn't make nearly as much money as them because, again, the amount of hardware you have doesn't matter compared to how much software you can sell. And Sony has all those huge third-party and free-to-play games that just don't do the same on Switch because even if they're there, they run like shit.
Yeah, I honestly, if Microsoft can crack, like if we're watching the Microsoft Showcase this year, and as well as games, and they finally show stuff and they give dates and whatever, if they finally like project blah blah blah, and it's a fucking Xbox Series S portable in some capacity, not a cloud device. I want to make this clear: a device that takes existing games that can be updated to run. It caps the frame rate down to like frame rate to 60 and 720p, something like that. 1080p screen on a handheld. You can take your memory card out of your console and just plug it in, and it all just fucking works. If they could do something anywhere close to that,
I think
that's how they would make market
The
share.
one thing that would work is if they can just shrink the Series S die and get the TDP low enough to just have a Series S game.
Yeah.
If there's extra work on every single game, and they've got every Xbox One game, or original Xbox game, every original Xbox game has to work on this. Every 360 game has to work on this. Every Xbox One game has to work on this. Every Xbox Series game has to work on this, and they have to do work on all of them. It's not feasible. But if it can just be, this is a Series S, we know these games work. We just have to get the die shrink and the power you draw low enough that it is just a Series S in here. And something like the ROG Ally looks awesome and can hit those really close performance numbers running in turbo mode, but turbo mode probably is going to last like an hour.
But people are happy with a Steam Deck lasting an hour and a half.
I know.
You know?
And the Steam Deck doesn't run anywhere near what a Series S would have to.
Yeah. So, man, if they could do it...
There's a question about this. There's a question about this too coming up later. But really quick, I feel like there are a couple things Microsoft could do. I mean, one thing is there's a market that they still haven't really tapped into that they should put more effort into. Japanese market, get a Japanese publisher. That should be a no-brainer. I think everyone.
Well, they got to beat the CMA then, or else otherwise they can't buy anywhere.
Yeah, they gotta work out something there. But the other thing, and I think this is a lot more doable, and I'm kind of surprised Microsoft doesn't do it as often, is put more money in marketing. Not marketing like your console. Marketing deals with big games. I know they already do a fair bit, but do more.
They definitely slowed down the last few years because they did like Battlefield and they did Cyberpunk and seemingly got a little burned, and they were like, you know what, pump the brakes. But
I remember there was a year last generation where Sony coasted the entire fall season on just Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront was their big fall game. Everyone was okay with it. Just the sheer marketing.
Everyone's okay this year with just Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Well, see, that is still at least one game, and it's their game. That year, there was literally no fall game at all except for Battlefront, which wasn't even exclusive.
Yeah, but are we going to see the reams and reams of articles we did about Xbox's 2022? Are we going to see that?
No, because they'll just say, we have the trust that they do it normally, so, and Spider-Man's so big, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, they get really big sales numbers, but if you look, like their actual share, what pushes their platform is the big, constantly monetized third-party stuff. And you might get the console sales and pull some people in, but on the whole, you're actually making money as a company by the big games as a service and the things that everyone, ignores. Like, if the industry talked about the games that really pushed gaming, we would hear mostly about things like League of Legends, Minecraft, like Maple Story. There would be a ton of different there's 8 million mobile games that make more money than all the first party from these companies combined. It's like Nintendo doesn't make that much money despite having a bajillion sales and a bajillion game sales for their first party, because they don't have all the other stuff and they don't run well enough that people are going to play it on over their phone. That'll run it better.
Yeah.
I feel like regardless of what happens with the acquisition, Microsoft's not letting COD marketing go again. No, not at all.
I do wonder. Well, they've got 2 more years to sit through on that, right? Or this year and next year. So.
I think just this year and next year. So yeah, not much.
But either way, hey ho. There you go. That's what we would do. We try and do cool things with new tech to get people on board. Jesse brother, hey guys. Damn, I never would have guessed somewhere other than the CMA would be holding this ABK deal up. On the good news front, Jedi Survivor is terrific. Question for Travis, brother. What is your preferred lightsaber stance and color? I went with dual wielding and white, like a total Ashoka fanboy nerd. Jesse?
Mm-hmm. I was mainly blaster stance, where you have a lightsaber in your right hand and a blaster in your left, and it was real fun. And dual blade, like Darth Maul, because it's super good on defense. So I had the mix of defense and offense, and they were purple because I like purple.
Nice,
fair answer. Yeah. Top. Well. Looks like the ABK deal is going to drag down another few months. I hope you guys are prepared to talk about it until the end of time.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyways, on to my question. Is there a game that you wish was ported to a different platform but wasn't? Example would be Lawbreakers to Xbox or Fable 2 to PC. Ooh. That's a good question. Ported but wasn't. Man.
I mean, most of the ports I wanted eventually came. Hades came, Inscription came. Definitely not Stray. They can keep that.
I was literally about to say Stray.
No, oh god, I would have left immediately. Stray is
awful. It was indie game of the year, wasn't it?
Screw. Not awful. Oh, I got it.
The second Halo Spartan Strike twin stick shooter was never ported.
Spartan Assault, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the first one was Spartan Assault, and then it was Spartan Strike.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Good old days of Windows Phone. But easy answer for me, I just realized, is Final Fantasy 14. What the hell? I was waiting for that for a while.
Hurry up!
I was waiting for quite a bit. Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Webcams wasn't on, desktop audio was on, so no one could hear me after I turned my mic off.
Derp.
See, that's the name of game shit, so that you guys can hear the buzzer. So I apologize. But yeah, the Final Fantasy stuff was very much we're gonna do this, and then who coming in, swooping in, and pretty much making it. Nope. No, we want this to be our thing.
Screw you, Sony.
Yeah. There you go. BatOutaHades. Gents, the Asus ROG Ally is certainly building a lot of hype with its technical specifications and speculated pricing. USD $699 for the premium model. That's with the Ryzen Z1 Extreme. Given the Ally is Windows native and Game Pass Ultimate includes PC Game Pass, is the fabled Xbox handheld essentially here? Any hankerings to score that Rocket League goal on the porcelain throne or put the finishing touches on your new Forge map from the comfort of your bed for the asking price?
I have an answer for this. Watching Linus Tech Tips, their podcast last night, he was actually talking about the issues it has, where the Steam Deck is a console. And so everything works for its form factor.
Yeah.
And ROG Ally is, it is meant to be. Well, what it is they've been working on big picture mode forever. Like they've been working on it for a very long time. So big picture mode just gives you a console UI. But the ROG Ally is a PC and it's running Windows, and Windows is not built to be that small or used with a controller. So it's essentially a laptop with a controller bolted to it. It's a way better laptop, to be bolted onto, but it's not built around the UI functionality that the Steam Deck has.
Yeah.
So one thing I would hope, and the reason why Xbox is going to be there, is they will have a
Windows handheld mode,
and it probably will be an Xbox app at start, because a Windows handheld mode is probably a ridiculous amount of work and would take a very long time. Hopefully they do it, but an actual Xbox app built for it, for that size. Something more like what you get on the phone and less what you get on PC by default, because it's going to be native gaming. It is an AMD
it's Windows 11
system,
right?
Yeah, it's a Windows machine with an AMD chip in it. As long as AMD has a decent driver for that chip, it's a native machine. So what they need are a native UI, a native app. So if their Armory Crate mode can be good enough if you're just worried about gaming, but that app really sucks on PC. So who knows? But it's got to be the Xbox app itself, being a native version that works really well. And then you can use Steam Big Picture as well, which will work very well.
Well, it's interesting. There was a leaked video and an article on The Verge, which I'll link in the chat, which was Windows handheld mode, like a narration about Windows UI being difficult to navigate, and it's some prototype handheld work created by Dorothy Theng, a senior UX designer at Microsoft, and it includes things like a launcher that opens games from Steam, PC Game Pass, EA Play, Epic Store, and more. And it has a keyboard optimized for Steam that can be navigated using a controller, and even a floating taskbar.
I mean, Microsoft has a lot of experience with portable or touch-based devices in the last few years.
So
the only unfortunate thing is that it was a hackathon. It was
it's super
internal. Yeah, and it's people trying shit out. It's not a thing they're actively working on based on this.
Yeah, but fingers crossed that they must be aware of this need, and if Microsoft are working on a handheld, this is where they will start.
Microsoft handheld would just be the Xbox UI.
Yeah,
changed
for
up.
Sure.
It wouldn't have. It wouldn't be a Windows machine.
And this is not the answer to Microsoft handheld, because end of the day, this is still priced high.
Yeah.
I know people say it's not high for the hardware, for what's in it, blah blah blah. I get that, but 700 is not hitting that level of hey, my kids need something to distract them on their 4-hour car ride. Let's get them a Nintendo Switch.
What you would think is if the Series S is down to 250, 200, if they're able to get it down there, you can go 350 to 450, or 350 to 400, and then the Series X is a step above that. But you gotta obviously it's gonna be more because you got a screen and speakers and all this other shit,
battery and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, but it's probably gonna be friggin', and they're gonna make it in a quantity that Asus is not going to make this. Even the Steam Deck, they made they made 3 million. It was huge for this thing because no one ever makes that many, but that's nothing compared to game consoles who live off of their volume and then the fact that they own the store. And Steam owns their store, but it's also a pretty open device. You don't have to always be on it. But an Xbox handheld is going to be fully subsidized in a way the ROG Ally isn't, where they're probably taking a very small. I wouldn't be shocked if Microsoft was working with them a lot on this and maybe helping in various ways, but Microsoft's own handheld gets to be way cheaper than anyone else's because of volume, and we own.
I mean, I'd just love to see it. Man, it would make so many waves because you can't. I don't believe for a second that Sony and Microsoft aren't looking at the numbers that Nintendo Switch does and the viability of that, and going, if only we could. And Microsoft are easily it's not like for Sony they would have to create a completely different thing. But if Microsoft can just shrink that S down so that their devs don't have to do any more work and games just work, then they would have cracked the code, and that would have been an absolute game changer.
And it's crazy because you see
kings of emulation and software, so
you see the numbers the Switch does, but then you see the revenue compared to the other companies, and it's if you could ever match their numbers for consoles, holy shit, it would be that'd be something. Yeah.
Anyways, Skedaddle. So by now we must have reached the part of the show where John has drifted off. Let's see if we can wake him up with a question. John, what do you think about the Sea of Thieves Voyage of Legends board game releasing in July? They have the Steam Forge games have pre-orders live on their site for £60. Describes the upcoming nautical board game as an open world 4X light pitting 2 to 4 plucky pirates against one another, as well as many of the perils of the high seas in a quest to be crowned pirate legend. You know what? I love a good board game. We discussed board games last week and some of the many board games we've played. I would give it a go. I've still not jumped back into Sea of Thieves for a while because the gameplay loop remains unevolved for me. They add more fluff around the loop, but the loop is still the same thing. And I ground that game into a fine.
Yeah, you play the game a lot.
I wonder how many are on it. How many people are working on Sea of Thieves, doing a gameplay upgrade?
Well, it's funny. I saw Mike Chapman tweet out a movie picture for Peter and Wendy, which is a new movie coming from Disney, Peter Pan movie.
Yep.
And it had a ship, what's it called? The Sea Devil, Captain Hook's ship in the clouds. And it looked exactly like the ship that appears in the clouds in Sea of Thieves. And he quoted it, and everyone obviously assumes, oh, you're working with Disney again in another pirate crossover event. Instead of it being Pirates of the Caribbean, you're going to go with Captain Hook and the Sea Devil and da da da. I don't think so. I think he was just commenting on the fact it had a ship in the clouds. But Sea of Thieves, for me, is a game, it's really special to me. I think it's one of the best multiplayer experiences I've ever had in my entire life. I've played a lot of multiplayer games, but I would be more excited at this point to see a sequel where the Xbox One's dropped. There's more scale, more scope, and just more ambition. Like, I love what it is, but I've had my time with it now, I think. But I won't ever knock it. But
I wonder if they're ever working on a sequel. I don't know.
It's one of those things. It's making loads of money. It's super popular, 30-odd million players. Why? Right now, why? Don't need to. Runs on a potato, you know?
Yeah.
But I would love to see them overcome some of the engine limitations and go bigger.
Yeah.
Which they could. But hey-ho.
Go big or go home.
That's right. Oh, wait, that's Grounded.
That an update too, didn't
Team of 20, that's done brilliant.
Super duper update.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they took over Minecraft's name schemes and actually put one out.
Yeah, they didn't just talk about it; they actually put it out. Good old Collingwood. Hello, John, Jesse, Soul. What happened to Jez? Jez is in Germany, and it's just too late for him. He'll jump back on when it's the UK, and he's back over here. I am not going to mention the war. So a different news piece. Earlier this week, Sony announced that Angie Smets, studio director at Guerrilla Games, has been appointed Vice President, Head of Development Strategy at PlayStation Studios. Ms. Smets has been at Guerrilla Games for 20 years. Herman Holst, Head of PlayStation Studios, was also Guerrilla Games alumni. So while PlayStation may not be developing studios organically, it is certainly promoting executives from their studios organically. Is this something Xbox does or should do and promote executives from their studios? Phil Spencer came up from the tea room as a Microsoft staffer, but not from a game studio. He worked on many games.
He was with Microsoft games, yeah.
Sarah Bond doesn't have a background from a studio. Matt Booty is the only Xbox executive who's come from a gaming background, coming from Midway. One of the criticisms leveled at Xbox is it doesn't appear to manage its studios. A solution might be to promote into executive experience staff from the studios rather than sideways appointments from other areas in Microsoft. Managers with a gaming background may have a better understanding of the unique issues that game studios experience. After all that, should Microsoft be looking for Xbox executives from within? What value do you see promoting people from Xbox Game Studios? Good old Collingwood. There's a question about Nick for football there. Sorry, you'll have to DM him on the forums. He's not there. I think there is a narrative that exists about Microsoft's management of studios, and I get it. Some of it, to a degree, is justified. I think there is always still an element with Microsoft. Sometimes they're too hands-on and it ruins games. Sometimes they're too hands-off and it ruins games. There's this real fine balance to be struck in general with managing game studios. And it's sometimes about people, sometimes it's about process. Nick has always said, Microsoft just don't sometimes get it. I still think that sometimes is the case.
Not as often as Nick claims it.
And it's also what part doesn't get it, because
the E3 of Dreams is a lie, guys. The E3 of Dreams is a lie. I'm just saying.
Difference with Xbox is they're tied to a gigantic monolithic company. Yeah. And even if the people in Xbox might get it, but the people above them who make final decisions on certain things throughout their history, especially when they were under Windows, did not get it and did not want to get it because they hated it. So it's always been this fight. And the fact that it's finally a pillar now where they've got a seat at the table and Phil is there, whoever comes after him is there. Like they're there now and they were never there before. And it's still pretty recent.
Yeah. So it's such a individual based thing, right? Like, let's say, for example, you're head of a studio or something. Microsoft comes up to you and they're like, hey, we want you to head up this big executive position. That is not the same job. That is a complete, almost career shift in a way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as simple as like, hey, these guys promoted someone. Why don't these guys promote someone? It's just,
Well, they kind of actually just did that with Kiki Wolfkill, where she went from doing one job only for 343, and now she's got a whole umbrella of pretty much everything gaming under Xbox as her transmedia focus.
And even in 343 themselves, they promoted from the MCC team internally to the head of studio, right? Like the internal promotions do happen. And one thing I think is kind of always a factor is you don't always hear about all these little job changes that happen in these studios or these companies
everywhere, right? Nonstop. It is a very volatile industry as far as job turnover goes.
Yeah.
Should Xbox promote more from internal studios? They should do what they think is
maybe best. We just don't know. In the end, we don't have the context, and we don't actually know what has happened. Who you might want to promote someone, they might not want it. They might already have plans to go do something else. Like we don't know. It is always what's hard. It's very hard for people to say no. I don't know. On shows like this a lot, you'll watch them and people will I'll just speculate about anything. And then people like them, they trust them. And so they kind of start to assume, oh, that probably is what happened. When the reality is we don't know. And even if you're an insider and you have people that talk to you, even if you've got 3 people that talk to you, these are companies of thousands of people and stuff. Like, you never get the full picture. So it's tough.
Yeah. You can't say more than that, really. Like, it is a complete guessing game. Like,
even PlayStation. I mean, this is recent news they promoted, right? Have they always promoted or promoted organically, right? Has that been a regular
also,
thing
this
for
is
them?
clearly someone Herman Holster's worked with for a long time. That's probably, and again, look, we're doing exactly what Jesse said. Probably a conversation there. Hey, you might suit this. I've worked with you. I know that you would be a good fit for this. Come on over. That's how these things happen. It's all about who you know still, no matter what industry you're in.
Yep.
But look, like the narrative of mismanagement of studios, like, I think to a degree, and I think this is true, Microsoft are just held to a very, very different standard. Very different standard than the rest of the industry. Unfairly so. Yeah. It is what it is. Anyway, last question before we close out the show for the evening. DeoGame. I'm just fucking bummed this week. Tell me a joke, I guess, and don't say the Microsoft Activision deal. Okay, we'll all do a joke. Good luck thinking on the fly, gentlemen, because I read this question 10 minutes ago and
I did too, and I still don't have one.
Okay, here we go.
So you go.
What do you call a ravenous wolf with no legs?
A ravenous wolf with no legs.
It's a joke, so you don't have to think about it. Anything you fucking like, he ain't going to catch you. There you go. All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope that made you smile, DeoGame. There you go. It's a dad joke coming at you.
What's brown and sticky?
A brown stick.
Oh, just a stick. Yeah. You're not supposed to answer it. You ruined the joke.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute you now.
Yeah, John. Bam. Okay. I don't have a joke because I don't really do verbal jokes. But I got a quick riddle that's basically a joke.
Think about Redfall.
What?
Oh.
Britt, please, man. Every day Britt posts these jokes in heavy quotations.
So one reason to not go on our Discord server.
What? All the conversations?
No, the meme channel.
The meme channel is cool, but anyways. Okay, my joke / riddle. I'm gonna be quick. There's been a murder. Okay. You might have already heard this because it's probably pretty popular. Someone was killed in a car. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop me if you've already heard this because it's just gonna ruin the joke. It's not a joke. The windows were closed. The doors were locked. There was no signs of forced entry. No signs of forced leaving. The car was locked. How the person how'd they kill the dude or the person?
I don't know.
I heard this when I was like 6. So
there's someone in chat. I'm not looking at chat.
So there's
someone's dead in the car. They were murdered in the car, but the doors are locked. There's no signs of forced entry. The windows are all perfectly fine. How'd they kill them? 0 signs of someone entering, leaving the car.
But how has he been killed?
He's been, I don't know, shot, strangled, whatever. Shot, let's say. But there's no bullet hole.
It was a convertible car.
That is the answer. That's so bad. It's so awful.
Yes.
Listen, it worked well when I was 8 years old.
The hood was down. Yeah.
Yeah. It was convertible. That's
there you go. That was bad. You're welcome. I think that's a good note to end the
There's
show.
also no reason to be bummed. There's too many good games coming out.
Seriously.
Yeah, man. Like this week alone, there's loads of stuff hitting. Like, just go play some games. Anyways, it's the end of the show. Only 2 hours 20 minutes. That's an hour shorter than it would have been if Nick was on.
Yeah, you
He
guys
would
were
have
like
made the
3
same
hours
point about
last
ABK 5 times. You would have had to listen to it.
5 before
Maybe
Lucky.
So on that note, Nick will be back next week as normal, as will I. And we'll have more to talk about. We'll probably dig into whatever the Microsoft response is. We'll be talking all about Redfall because we'll be out in the wild. We'll be talking about the review of Ben Fox and whatever else lands next week in the world of video games. Until then, Soul Blazers, it's been a pleasure having you on once again, sir. Thank you for joining me.
Always, thank you.
And Jesse,
hi.
don't sound so dumb. And Jesse for turning on the camera and becoming a third panel member. I know that's a lot more work for you and a lot more hassle.
I forgot I was on.
Good to hang out. And chat, thank you as always. Much love to everybody. We'll see you next time. Ciao for now. There you go, Nick.
See you guys. Thanks for watching.
Hey, if anyone's still around, you can ask me about Redfall. Go ahead, ask questions in chat. I will answer them. The answer is I can't talk about it yet. All right, see you guys later.